Greetings, everyone. Greetings and welcome. This week, I got a chance to sit down with Class&Cool. He's an absolutely fantastic creator in the space that has such a clarity and presence when talking about old school soul, primarily EverQuest, and kind of carrying that into Monsters and Memories. Just a really calm, cool, and collected guy. Excellent streams, the closest thing to ASMR that we have. Incredible live streams, very entertaining, very relaxing, and very knowledgeable about EverQuest, old school spirit, emulation, and just in general what makes these games so special and beautiful. So let's enjoy this conversation with Class&Cool. All right. Yeah, greetings everyone and welcome. So today we have Class&Cool. How are you doing, good sir? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually super excited to be here. And I've watched several of your, well, not several, I would say like almost all of your interviews, Slayheim, and like what you're doing is incredible. I mean, it's like
Oh,
bringing the community together. I didn't even realize there were so many people doing this. So yeah, for niche community, it's awesome.
thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, so for people who don't know you yet, basically like who are you? How did you get into MMOs? What's your kind of like MMO origin story?
Yeah, for sure. So for the 99.999% of the population that doesn't know me, right? Because I'm a tiny channel. My name is Class&Cool. It is kind of weird and funny at the same time. So it's like a play on words. It's classic and then cool. So you take Class&Cool and then you say it quick. It's like classical. I've had a love for EverQuest for the longest time. Uh, and one of the things I wanted to do is like capture my experiences, right? All the memories I make and the stories I tell other people. I'm like, you know what? It would be really cool if I would just record all my gameplay and one day, like 10 years later, come back to it and relive those moments. So that was literally the origin story of why I even made the channel. It was never meant to reach an audience more than like 15 people. I mean, literally, I made the channel for myself. It wasn't meant to have an audience. And then that kind of organically just happened. So it's been interesting. Um, I think the second question you said, what actually got me into EverQuest? So that's a loaded question. So specifically, and if you don't mind, this is kind of like a long answer,
No,
and if
this is
it's too
great.
drawn out,
This is
interrupt
great.
me. But um, my dad, and this was back in the early '90s. He was a oceanographer, and they would computers were expensive back then, right? Um, and
Wow.
my parents, they're immigrants. We all immigrated from the Soviet Union, from Russia, when I was 4 years old. So that was like 1990, 1991. And they're obviously very conservative, very frugal. They weren't going to buy a bunch of stuff. But my dad, he worked for the government, so he was able to take the U.S. government. Obviously, he wasn't like a
Wow.
spy. Though.
Dude, that's
He
awesome.
worked for the U.S. government, but he brought home a PC, right? Um, and he showed me like Minesweeper, and this was back in the DOS days, and then Commander Keen. But I
Oh
also
yeah.
had an older brother, and I think this was like around the time I was like 6 or 7, like my second grade years. My brother got me into like Space Quest, King's Quest, Legend of Carandia, all those like old adventure click'em games,
Hmm.
and then I think the first RPG like game I tried was Dark Sun, Shattered Lands. So that's where I really got into choosing the strength, choosing the different attributes, going around collecting loot, and doing all that stuff. So at the same time, I was reading a bunch of Lord of the Rings. I was reading a lot of fantasy books. I mean, I was in grade school, but this is back in the day when kids. Okay, that's a jab, but this is back in the day when kids still read books. Like we would have the book fair, and you know,
Yeah.
there would be different sections, but you know, we would go to the book fair, and we would in elementary and middle school, and we would take home books, and it was always fantasy books, right? Um, and closer to like the late 90s, Warcraft came out, Warcraft 2. So now like the fantasy of orcs versus humans, like I still have all those RTS memories from like Dune 2, Command and Conquer. I really got into gaming as a whole. Like I was, and keep in mind, like I was like maybe 6 or 7 when I was playing Space Quest or King's Quest. I was then Quest for Glory and all that stuff, Dark Sun. That was like between 7 and 9, and then after that, I think I was around 9 or between 9 to 11 was like the pinnacle of my gaming, right?
Hmm.
Um, Warcraft. I mean, Quake, Age of Empires, the Sega Genesis, and this was back when we used to hang out. We had two options: either sit inside, like gaming wasn't cool, like you spent most of your time playing outside. So I lived a regular childhood of playing outside. I would go to my friend's house to play the Nintendo 64 because my parents like wouldn't buy a $200 system. That was like outrageous for them to even consider that. And then I would play what was it? The Zelda Ocarina of Time, right? Slayheim.
Hmm.
Um, and my friend, he had more fun watching me, right? So this is like a precursor to the whole like social MMORPG, right? Um, he would literally invite me to his house, and I would play the game for him, and he would just sit there and watch, right? Like it was like an adventure for us. And around the same time, I was invited to my friend's house. His name was Raj. Yeah, he lived in a McMansion. You know, he lived in the very wealthy neighborhood. His dad was a lawyer, so he had like the latest flat screen CRT. Like when I say flat screen, like the screen was flat, and it was like a ViewSonic or something like that. But it was still like the big monitors. And I remember looking over his shoulder, right? Similar to how the other guy was watching me play Zelda Ocarina of Time, I was watching him play this game, and I was like, "What is that?" And I remember he's like, "Oh, it's EverQuest." I was like, "And what is all these characters?" So let me back up. Imagine I'm standing there. I'm 11 years old. It's 1999. I'm standing over my friend's shoulder, and he's literally typing away, talking to other people. Meanwhile, he's running around first person view, and he's in Greater Faydark, so you can't like see more than like 5 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
But then he's running up to other people, and he's starting to have conversations. And I was like, I'm so confused. Why are you like? I'm thinking there was like mud commands or like in Quest for Glory where you had to like type like open crate or something like that. I was like, what are these people? What are you typing? And he's like, I'm just talking to them. I was like, what do you mean you're talking to them? Like he's like AIM, like AOL, talking to them. Like I'm chatting with them. These are real humans. And my mind was blown. I was like, so you're telling me that's like another dude, just like we're over here in your house. That's another dude in somebody else's house across the world controlling that little elf. And that was when I was introduced to the elf simulator, EverQuest. So it was incredible experiencing that for the first time. But I mean, after that, I was hooked.
That's amazing. You know, you're
I
right. Yeah,
warned you. I warned
it's
you, right?
no, no. This is
Long winded.
great. It's almost like social media before social media. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah,
to people now, that's like that's standard. But back then, it truly was revolutionary. You know what I mean? So that's amazing.
for
Thank you for
sure.
sharing that. It sounds like you got a really good background too with like all these other games. For me, I didn't have a whole lot of that growing up. So even like the mud commands is something that's kind of relatively new to me. So
It's
it's
new to me
it's
too. Yeah.
it's it's really interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Specifically, like with the mud commands, I used to confuse that for like the action click adventure games like Quest for Glory or Space Quest. Like that's where you would click something and then you would type look here or something like that. And I always thought that was mud commands, but then somebody schooled me. He's like, no, it's more than that. And I kind of get what mud commands are now, but I'm still a noob at it, to be completely frank. I was more into wow, graphics. And I was chasing that at a very early age, for sure. Even though I couldn't afford a graphics card. But anyways, the whole lack of money thing is a whole nother story. Because you got to remember, I was 11 years old. Um, how in the world was I going to convince my uh, Eastern European parents who immigrated here to pay for a $10 a month subscription to play EverQuest? It was nice that I saw him playing the game, but it was another. It was it got. I'll tell you about this if you want to hear, but it's a little complicated on how I actually got to playing EverQuest at home. Um,
Yeah, yeah, hit me with
but
it. I had that same issue trying to convince my parents the same. So yeah, it's
yeah,
tough.
man. I think it's a universal thing for, anyone from that region, and it's not just that region, but anyone who's not like a third or fourth or fifth generation American. Like I'm a pure red, white, and blue American now, but back then I was just especially my parents, they didn't know their way around the community and connecting with people, right? So when
Hmm.
they hear their 11-year-old say, "Mom, Dad, there's this fantasy game," right? And mind you, at this age, I'm already like hooked on gaming. Like I'm playing outside, I'm doing all that stuff, but they see the signs, right? He's sitting on the computer downloading shareware. He's on AOL Instant Messenger talking to his middle school friends, like what was it, ASL? We would ask each other like
Yeah,
age, gender, and something else,
location.
location.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
those were the days. Those were the days.
yeah, it was so good. And remember the AOL discs we had? They would come in the mail. So that
Yeah.
was actually another thing. So I had a 56K modem, right? So that was blazing fast back then, blazing fast internet. But my parents didn't have a stable internet connection, so I had to balance between Net Zero, which was completely free, and the AOL 30-day free trial discs. So that was step one, getting a solid internet for EverQuest. The second thing is EverQuest. I believe when you purchased it or got uh, the CD key, you would get 30 days of a free trial. So some way, somehow, I got a couple of those, and I was able to use those 30-day trials. Um, Sometimes my friend would let me play on his account, and that's when I got the idea. What if I convince somebody that doesn't have time to play EverQuest? Maybe they're older than me. Maybe they have a 9 to 5, and mind you, I'm 11 or 12 years old. Maybe if I convince them through this the AOL Instant Messenger, or maybe even in game, that hey, I can help level up your character while you're at work. So I met
Wow.
actual people that were, and there's one person in particular. I think he was like a computer engineer or computer scientist, and he worked late nights or at nighttime, right? So when I would get off school, I would log into his account. I would have his character and I would have my character. And the deal was I would level up his character and then I get to have my own character. And as long as he was not online, I could play on his account as much as I wanted to. So I got away with playing EverQuest for free for a very long time
Dude, that's
because I
awesome.
couldn't afford the $10 a month. So I'm sure SOE doesn't like to hear that, but uh, Sony
Yeah.
Online Interactive is
Yeah,
don't
that's what I
come
was
after me.
thinking. Wow. That's
Yeah,
fun.
but it was fun.
Do you keep up with EverQuest Live now? Like, do you have a subscription now, or have you kind of kept up with it over the years, or are you purely for the classic experience? We'll get into all that later. I know you play a little bit of
Yeah.
Project Quarm and whatnot, but
I so I played from 1999 till about 2004, like a lot.
the
Um,
golden age of EverQuest, some
yeah,
would say.
yeah. Unfortunately, like so here's the thing, and I actually started keep in mind like this kind of goes back to me not being able to afford the subscription, but I dabbled in like EverQuest software. I think there was like EQ Maps. You could download the demo. So like when I didn't have internet connection, I'd go play the demo. And I'd just run around the tutorial zone. I would find a way of running around like the GM zone and fly around the zones like offline, right? It was more of like exploring the map. So I was a little, as a kid, I was a little hacker boy.
Wow.
So all of this was done offline, right? But I found the emulation community around 2001. So it was
Oh,
really, really early on when I first actually started dabbling in emulation.
wow, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and really, I left for sure. Like I left SOE, I left. It was Variant, then it was Sony Online Interactive, and then Daybreak came around like 2010. So by 2006, I was pretty much done. The microtransactions or just the implementation, and honestly, I'm gonna be frank, it wasn't really the microtransactions. It is 100%. Like I will. That's one of the reasons why I'll never come back. And no disrespect to the community or the game, it's just not for me. For me, one of the things that made EQ so special was that character identity, right? And that's part of running into another person and seeing them with like all red plate armor, right? And we're talking about like low poly graphics, and
Hmm.
seeing that and like a flaming sword, um, and being like, dang, I want to be that guy. And then you'll like talk to them and be like, yo, what level are you? And they're like, I'm such and such, and I'm this, and then here have a bronze piece of plate, right? And to you, that's like, oh my gosh, he just gave me plate armor. I'm like, I can't believe it. And
Yeah,
those moments would stick with you, and you would strive
yeah,
for that. But microtransactions, and then this is going to be very controversial, but Loosland, I was cool with Loosland. I liked the spires because I thought that was like a very cool organic way of like traveling to the moon. It's like, oh, so that's what the spires are for. You stand underneath of them. There's a
yeah.
timer, like 15 minutes, and then these people cast a portal. And as long as you have the stone on you, I think it's a stone, then you can go to the moon. Um, Now there's some corny aspects about Looseland, and yeah, there's Luckland, there's Looseland. I've as a kid I always
I
called it
appreciate
Looseland, but I
Looseland
know
because I've always said that too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I thought it was really cool, man. I mean, the zones were, yeah, as far as graphically, they felt like they lost some character. The upgrade in the graphics was pretty cool. I always used the newer models back then. But again, by Planes of Power, I think I came back for Legacy of Yakisha to try the frog lock, and I literally just logged in and logged off, because I don't know, I didn't have the same emotional pull towards the game as I did earlier. And the biggest thing for me is when I logged in, I went to the plane, and first of all, I logged in and I was still in Greater Faydark. Nobody else was there. I went to this book. It was the book, the Plane of Knowledge book. I clicked it. It teleported me there. That's where there were some people. Then I came back. I ran through Butcher Block. There was barely anyone there. And then I realized I don't need to wait for the boat. I can just click on this book, teleport over there, and then teleport to the next place. And I felt the world felt so small to me at that point and empty. Even though it was so massive, it felt like almost like a lifeless world to me. It wasn't what I remembered, because I felt like we all like relied and depended on each other greatly for travel, for buffs, for armor, for progression. Again, looks maxing. We would see other players and we would just be like, man, I want to be like him, right? And I didn't feel that anymore after around 2006. So I went to I did a lot of other things, like I tried EQ2. I played WoW. WoW was great for a while. And yeah, well, I don't want to get off too much. You asked
wow.
about EQ, so but that's pretty much where I was with EQ Live, and then after that, I was just pure emulation. After that,
That's awesome. No, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Just to circle back about emulation, it's amazing now that you think about it. And I actually just found this out recently too. I talked to Secrets, the lead GM of Quarm. Spoiler alert, that hasn't dropped yet.
Secrets is great. Yeah,
Maybe by the time this comes out, it'll be out there. But I learned that the emulation community, or like emulation, has been around pretty much as long as EverQuest itself. Ever
Yep.
since EverQuest came out, I had no idea. I thought it was a recent thing, and I always tell people this too. Like for me personally, I feel like I kind of forgot EverQuest for a while. I played it; it was great in that golden age, and I sort of like moved on to other stuff, like World of Warcraft, like you said, some other things. But I never really forgot EverQuest. And when I discovered like Project Quarm and Project 1999 and all that stuff, it was almost like this hidden secret world of like people that still loved EverQuest, of it kind of continuing. So yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Hmm.
and it's cool too from you sharing that story. It seems like that's why like we'll get to Monsters and Memories specifically. That's kind of what this whole thing is about. But that so
That's oof.
Greater Faydark seems like it made a really good impression of you. That's kind of where you started. That's kind of you seem like you kind of lean more towards like the elves, the kind of druids, like kind of forest type stuff. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. Okay.
Lord of the Rings ruined me, man. I was a big Tolkien head as a kid. I mean, imagine I'm in third grades. Third grade, I'm making pictures of dragons. I'm reading all the Tolkien books. I forgot what books are behind me. I started
Yeah,
collecting
you got a
older
nice
books.
collection there.
Well, it's really nothing actually. I would embarrass myself compared to some other people, but I started collecting older books. But I mean, in Baldur's Gate, you remember Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, I love Baldur's
Um,
Gate.
oh my gosh! So like, yeah, I've always liked elves. I've always leaned towards like the, the like I like the human race. I think their uh, honor and valor and all this stuff. But something about the elves, I feel like they had that, but they were also just very chill and very connected to their surroundings. Um, and there was something like very powerful yet beautiful about them, or like mysterious. Like every time you read about them in books, like you felt like they were radiating or glowing in some way. So I was
Yeah.
always drawn to them. And then keep in mind, Lord of the Rings, the movie came out, and that was like 2001, I think. So EQ had already been out. So like at that point, I was just like, oh yeah, come on, man, I gotta play as Legolas, or I gotta play as like one of the other elves. Like yeah, it was. Plus the Tree City was there.
Yeah, I remember so many
So
people were like cosplaying in EverQuest when that came out. There's all these like elven references, and anyway. So
100%. Oh, I think I've created a new character. Well, actually, I didn't create a new character, but I've named my characters based off of, like, for example, um, Dracos Draconis. Draconis, obviously, it takes inspiration from dragons, and every single character I've ever made has been like a lore friendly name, and it's not like for role playing reasons. It's just because if the reason I like specifically games like EverQuest is because you're I mean, we talk about escapism, but it's like you're teleporting into that universe. Like the same Tolkien books that you read, the same fantasy books that you read, like you're basically entering a world where you're not just reading a book, you're living the book. And for me, that's how I experienced a lot of these MMORPGs. I don't play them for min maxing. I don't play them for seeing what new features are out. It was always because I literally wanted to shut everything else off and just go off on an adventure. That's always what it was. So yes, elves definitely a high point in my childhood,
man,
and now.
that's amazing. So you're all about the immersion. Yeah, I was gonna ask, so here we are in the modern age. So you can play anything, obviously.
Hmm.
What keeps you kind of coming back to this kind of older MMO design, slower, more social games?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank goodness for people like Secrets, right? You spoke with you mentioned Secrets and how you recently found out that the emulation community has been around forever. When I say recent, I mean it could have been like a year ago, 2 years ago, but whenever it was, like the emulation community has always existed. It existed uh, nearly as long as EverQuest has, um, and what I liked about that specifically is I felt like I always had a home in EverQuest. Like I played World of Warcraft, right? I thought it was great. Why? Because I played Warcraft 1, I played Warcraft 2, I played Warcraft 3. I love the Warcraft lore. right? When people say, "Oh, you like Warcraft, World of Warcraft," like for people that don't like it, for example, they might immediately be like, "Oh, you just like that kind of game." It wasn't about the game for me; it was about the lore. I think for me, that's one of the things that drives me to any game is the lore. It's not so much the features that are in the game, but more so the depth of it. You know, when I'm running through the world, is there visual storytelling? Like, for example, how can you ever forget the butcher block chessboard?
Yeah.
Right? You experience it. You might only spend like over the course of 25 years. I mean, have we really spent more than 10 hours grinding there? Probably not. There's so many other places to go, right? But yet it's permanently embedded in your brain as a memory, right? There's so many other examples I can provide of that. So what I like about these older games, and specifically like EQ, and what keeps me coming back is a game that gives visual storytelling, something that doesn't hold my hand. I don't like that. I don't like to feel like I'm on rails. Um, I don't like the. I already said about the monetization. I feel like if I'm trying to immerse myself into a virtual world, the last thing I want is a reminder of the outside world. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's with money, whether it's with politics, whether it's with, you know, I've said this so many times, but I feel like games, for example, like EverQuest, really captured conflict in such a cool way where you can, you know, you've got conflict between races. Like you've got trolls that are literally chopping up dwarves and hanging them up in the
Yeah.
city. And when you
Yeah.
come into there and you see that for the first time, you're like, I really hate these trolls. I don't remember if it was the ogres or trolls, but it's like you come into the city and you see what they did to that dwarf, and he's just hanging there, and you feel the conflict of the world, right? And that's what I'm talking about, the visual storytelling. You have the different religions, how you might choose the wrong religion and a guard will attack you just because you worship Inaruk or something like that. I was always Tunair, so um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like or you're a dark elf and you can't go into Freeport without going into the sewers, or maybe that was more like ogres and trolls. I don't remember. I think dark elves. And the thing is, even with that, the game wouldn't hold your hand. But if you really got creative, you can work up your racial stats, or you can find an illusion or a spell, or you can just go invisible. The game would respect you as an intellectual, as an individual. That, hey, here's a problem, here's a challenge in front of you. Figure how to get around it. Don't just give up and say, "Oh, this game sucks because I can't go anywhere I want whenever I want." Uh, you find solutions to problems, and that's what really drives me to those kind of games. I don't like playing games, if I'm being frank, right? I don't like to sit down and just start playing games because I get bored. I get bored after like 30 minutes. I'll try the latest, greatest AAA game or the latest, greatest MMORPG, and I just get so bored. I'm like, wow, the graphics are great. But I mean, I'm like, because I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself, why am I sitting here doing this? Like, what am I accomplishing in my life right now sitting here playing this game? And I don't get that feeling with EverQuest. I feel like I'm going on an adventure. It's like I'm opening up my book and this is my time to just go on an adventure. Feel that way about Monsters and Memories. I've had glimmers of that with Pantheon even. World of Warcraft did that originally when it first came out, you know, but a lot of these games just don't do it for me. That's why I keep coming back to emulation. That's why I keep coming back to these older games, so to speak.
That's beautiful. I like it. Yeah, and I definitely feel the same way. And so what's your favorite class? It looks like Druid is the favorite class, but in general, is there more classes you gravitate to and ones you're not interested in? And actually, while you're thinking about that real quick, sorry, I just remembered this. I wanted to circle back. It is a very beautiful thing about EverQuest that the storytelling is told through like context clues and things of that nature. It doesn't need to exactly be spelled out for you in a cutscene, which I really like too. And yeah, you can get a sense there's good races and evil races, and then even within your race, whatever your religion is, like there's parts of the world that are open to you or closed off. I thought it did that very, very well. Like I really do.
It
And
did
like
really good.
and just all these little things around the world, like the chessboard, like you said, like why is that there, who put it there, what's going on. It's very interesting, you know, and it
Or like
really
Kithakor Forest.
just magic.
Kithakor Forest, when you walk in during the daytime, everything is fine. You go to the Halfling City and then you leave, and all of a sudden you're getting attacked from all
Yeah,
directions with undead. Like, what?
yeah.
And why does nobody else do that? Why does nobody else take the, creative? I don't know. I mean, who thought of that? First of all, like, imagine Brad McQuaid and like the rest of the team sitting there, and they're like, you know what we should do? We should make it so that the newbie starter zone outside of the halfling race. I know there's two newbie zones, but the newbie starting zone outside of the halfling race. Let's make it so when they come out at night, they immediately get ganked by level 50 undead.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And
fun.
I'm all for it, man. I got a bone to pick with halflings, man. That's like an ongoing lore thing between me and Wood Elves.
Wow,
But
really? Okay.
oh man, it's more of like a pun and a joke, you know what I mean? But every time I'm playing like EQ, there's this like pretend beef going on between myself and like halflings, and then gnomes. I like them, like I'm nice to them because they're very smart. They're very mechanical. I come to them for my gadgets, but then I'll make
Yeah,
like a condescending joke to them just because it's like, you've served your purpose, peasant. Like, again, it's all about just like being in character. And look, I'm not into like role playing. I'm not into cosplaying. I'm not into any of that. But it's like it comes so naturally when you're in these worlds.
yeah,
It's I mean, look, I've played Arc Raiders recently, and people just they get into it, right? And then it just they create their own little imaginary game fantasies. But yeah, I'm starting to like. You asked about the druid, and yes, I'm biased to the druid. Um, and this might sound a little bit like min maxing, right? But one of the reasons I usually start off with the druid is because it's my cash cow. Because I get to like level 30 something, 5 or whatever, I start getting my first ports. And then I
hmm
joined Dialaport, which I'm still a member on P99 of, and actually I think I'm on Quarm too. No. On Project Quarm, I'm not part of Dialaport. Um, I'm I'm on my close friends, Juster's. His game name is Juster. Monk Beans. Shout out Monk Beans, man. You're the man. So
Nice.
I would join the Dialaport crew, and then I would just start raking up money. And but after that, I would usually start a secondary character like a ranger. So I like rangers. I like the class lore of rangers. Again, that Legolas experience. I like warriors because that was actually the first thing I ever played. The very first EQ character I played was a wood elf warrior. Like probably the worst combination you can think of, besides like a gnome warrior. But I could even make an argument of why a gnome warrior is better than a wood elf warrior, right? I mean, as far as like strength and weakness, but that was my very first EQ experience. So I'm like playing EQ on hardcore from the very beginning, but that was a great experience. I like paladins. Um, I mean, I like all the classes as long as I can relate to them. So
hmm
apologies to all the necros. I can't be a necro. I can't get immersed into that because it's just not my lore. It's not my character. My character is always like virtuous and good. I'm just always trying to like, buff people. And I'm not saying necros can't buff, or would do whatever to help other players. But me specifically, I like the druid because I like going back to where it all started. So like the story begins in Kelethin, for example, and you're working your way up, and then like I said, you make it to level 30 something, and you start making money from doing these ports, and then you come back to where it all started to the noob lift, and you see you running around in those new characters, and like that was me like 100 some odd hours ago. And you buff them, you get into conversations, you're like, here's some pad leather armor. Do you have 15 minutes? Sure. Let me power level you a bit, buff them, make sure they stay alive. Um, what are you doing? Oh, I'm collecting crushed bone belts. Hey, I actually have a stack of 20 of them here. Here's 20 belts, and keep the bags. By the way, because obviously crushed bone belts don't stack. That's how I met Juster. Monk Beans is he's a real life friend now. He's somebody I met in game. I talked to him on the phone, and you know,
Wow.
he's on my Discord. He's a mod for my YouTube channel. Like it's crazy. Like I like social races where you can help other people because it gives you such a great opportunity to meet people, even
Yeah.
when you're not grouping with them. So yeah, I'm biased to Druids.
That's awesome. And yeah, that's a very wise choice. You know, it's nice. Yeah, you make a lot of money buffing people and porting people and stuff like that, you know. So yeah.
Porting is where porting is definitely where it's at. I think it's like one plat per level. So if there's like 3 level 60s that want to go to a raid, and you don't ask for it, they just give it to you, right? That's what 120, 180, 200 plat right there. So
It's
it's good
amazing.
stuff.
You know, I've never played Druid, but I'm gonna have to try sometime. That's cool. And so, do you have a favorite zone that you like that kind of made a impression on you from your EverQuest time?
So the one thing about me and EQ in general is I'm very casual. I'm a very casual player. So, you know, I don't have, and this is like a pro and a con. Like if somebody wants to learn about EQ from me, it's like you're not in the right place. Like I will butcher names. I will get things wrong. Like maybe when I was a kid, I used to, you know, this is my original.
So I'm the
This
same
is
way.
the original. It's not my
Wow,
original, but it's the manual that comes with the game, right?
dude, I
And
love
when I
that.
was younger, yeah,
I
man,
love that.
it's the art, man. The art was so good
They
on
used to put so
like
much effort in these things, man. Yeah, like look at that. There's all this like lore and like it's amazing, dude. It's
this is
incredible.
another thing I would do. Like I would like my parents would shove me off of the computer and I would sit there and I would read this and I would think about my next adventure. I
Yeah.
would just be like, "Oh my gosh."
You would
And
dream about playing again. You would just dream about it, about being in the world.
and these were our maps back then. You
Yes.
know,
I remember that. Yeah.
we would and I miss that, you know, just having a pen and paper. And yeah, we had websites, we had Alakazam, we had forums, um, we had access to information, and you would discover and figure stuff out. Um, but it was just so nice. I mean, and especially getting lost, right? Getting lost and figuring your way around town. Like, look, how many times did I get lost in Kelethin? And by the way, to answer your question, this is like my favorite place.
Okay.
Um,
Beautiful.
it's kind of cliche, right? Because you know you'd expect, oh, it's like Plane of Hate or something like that, or some kind of dungeon. But it's very simple with me because I'm not an encyclopedia on EQ lore. I just go out and experience it. I have fun with it. You know, but I kind of look at it as a good thing because I don't know everything, because I haven't experienced every raid, every mob. I could literally play the game for another 20 years and I probably wouldn't even like run out of content. Like I really like, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've done a single raid. I think I still need to kill Nagavin.
Wow. Yeah.
Even Nagi, I haven't like the first red dragon that you get in EQ, and I found out that you have to kill the dragon before you turn like level 50, and after that it locks you out of it. So I actually have a level 57 druid on P99, and I can't even kill the dragon because I outleveled it. And 25 years later, I still haven't even killed Nagafin. Um, so yeah, man, I'm very slow paced. I'm very casual. I take my time. I just vibe out basically, and that's why I like Greater Faydark and Kelethin. It's just the music, the atmosphere, the people, um, the Crushbone camp nearby. You know, you get that again old orc lore. It makes you feel like you're in the elven lands and the orcs are encroaching on you and then you kind of work your way up. And I love the progression of, you know, how there's the camps and then there's the crush bone like fortress. Basically you zone in and then you have to work your way around. You're getting stronger, you're leveling up. You got the trainer that's on the hill, you got the legionnaires, you find the slave camp and you're like, holy crap, they're keeping dwarves and elves as slaves. And it makes you hate the orcs even more as it goes back to that visual storytelling.
Yeah.
So like all these things, And EverQuest and Greater Faydark and North, I mean, keep in mind that zone existed in 1999. While other zones were added later, this was from the original game. And the fact that they pulled it off the way they did is just, I mean, it's a work of art. And yeah, that's, I guess you can call that a little bit of nostalgia, because I can probably name like 3 or 4 zones that are better than Greater Faydark, because it doesn't have a lot of mob density, it doesn't have a lot of camps. But I think for the feeling, it would probably be Greater Faydark. Besides that, I really like Oasis of Mar. I think that's for a sand land. I think it's a pretty efficient way of leveling up and killing the crocs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
That's great. It's always like, yeah, it's the one that kind of hits closest to home that's the most special. So I'm with you. And I think I could totally be wrong, but like, I think if you can kind of stay in Greater Faydark for a while, you don't need to leave, because I
Yeah.
think even after Crushbone, that's, you could maybe do like high 20s there and then move on to like, what is it, like Mistmore or something maybe? I'm not really sure. I didn't go like super deep.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's again, that's one of the things that's different with EQ versus other games is, um, you can be in the starting area and then experience higher level content. Like, it wasn't like a linear progression. It's like if I drew a map, for example,
Hmm.
um, you couldn't. Most games, the way they have their map here, I'll just use like a visual, right? So you have a map, and okay, so most maps would be level 1 to 10, level 10 to 20,
Hmm.
level 20 to 30, level 20 to 40. And that's kind of how the world is designed. What I like about EQ is it's they sprinkle high level mobs everywhere, right? You can grind the guards if you want, right? If you're really high level. Um, you there's low level camps, there's high level camps, there's low level camps that have the higher mob where you can't do it without a group. There's so much diversity in there that I just feel like a lot of other games just don't do anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that just makes the world feel alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, same for me. I remember seeing like higher level players in the lower level areas, and it kind of encouraged like that sense of wonder, like wow, like how did these people get this, and how can I be like you someday, for
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's great. Let's see here. So, okay, awesome. Yeah, and and I'm
great questions, by the way.
oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm the
you're
same
great at
way.
doing this. You're getting me excited about playing EQ again.
There's so many
Get off my
people.
hiatus.
No, it's great. And actually, yeah, I messed up my Quarm files recently. So for some reason, I don't know. I did like a Windows update. So something weird happened with my Quarm. I actually can't get on. I need to like
Oh
reinstall
no.
all that stuff and figure it out again. But man, I'm kind of like you. I didn't get like super deep into EverQuest when I was playing it. I did some raiding, but not much. I had kind of out leveled the dragons. So to be honest with you, I didn't do Nagafen either. I had a
Yeah.
brief stint in THJ, the hero's journey, before that got nuked, and I kind of lived out my fantasy of kind of going through some of those zones and doing that. But
And that's kind of how it was
yeah,
when I in my early 2000s, when I would like boot up the my little hacks, so to speak. I would max myself out to like level 60. I'd summon all the swords, and I would use like GM commands, and
oh
I would
wow,
teleport myself. It was a lot of it was hex editing, and obviously this was all done client side. None of this was server side, so I wasn't like logged into the SOE servers doing this stuff. It would be an instant ban, right? I think. Uh, I mean, frankly, you could get away with some things. Like you can use GM commands to basically make you have Spirit of Cheetah, and then there's Spirit of something else, and like you can literally run across the zone in like 2 seconds, or just teleport to another zone. But yeah, not no, no, I'm not. I never did anything like that. That's too much. But what I did do is I did do client side stuff when I wasn't logged in, and I would play around. And you can summon any mob, and you can kill all the bosses. You can go play in a hate. So I'm the same as you. Like I didn't play Hero's Journey, but I remember. I kind of lived out that what does it feel to be max level by basically making myself a max level person. And yeah, it's really a shame all that happened because, like, for example, you're having this issue with Quarm, and a lot of people say, "Oh, nobody wants to play this 25-year-old game." I disagree. I think the the amount of effort we have to put in to make it work, because keep in mind, a few years ago, like 1 or 2 years ago, like Quarm didn't have something called Zeal, and on my AMD PC, I couldn't run the game. They needed to fix something because my CPU was using too many cores or whatnot. That got fixed, but then my mouse wouldn't work, and they had to introduce Zeal, and that fixed my camera stutter and all this other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
now I had to install Quarm. I had to download the patch. I have to set it all up in a specific folder. It has to be on the C drive. It can't be on the D drive. And then you have to put Zeal, and then you got to load up Zeal, and then you got to open the hex file. I'm sorry, you got to open the text file, and then you got to edit this, yada, yada, yada,
Yeah,
yada,
I
yada.
tell you.
That's one of the main reasons, like, a lot of people don't go back to classic EQ. It's just because, like, for example, like me, I guarantee you there's tens of thousands of people like me that left EQ around the 2005, 2006 era, never came back. The difference with me is I came back, but there's tens of thousands. There's a community out there of silent people. They don't watch EverQuest videos. They don't play EverQuest. They don't think about EverQuest, but they experienced EverQuest and they experienced what we had growing up, but they just left it. And the reason they don't come back to, like, emulation is like, why would I spend 30, 40 minutes setting everything up? What I really wish EQ had is what's the name of it? Turtle Wow. I I was like, I really want to try this, but I don't want to have another Quarm experience. And this is not a knock on Quarm. Quarm does a great job. There's a patcher now. It makes it easier to log in and create everything. But it's still not as simple as, like, for example, TurtleWow. You download the executable, it installs the launcher, you press play, you're in.
Yeah,
I wish we had something like that for EQ.
I wish
But
so
ever
too.
since
I'll be honest,
SO,
I'm not computer
yeah,
savvy like on that level that you are. So for me, it's very daunting to download all that stuff. Yeah, I apologize. I interrupted you. Yeah, that
no,
sounds
you
like a
didn't.
dream if they do something like that. Yeah.
And here's the thing, that it it's harder and harder for that to be a reality when you have a company like Daybreak Games, which, that whole organization, Sony, Variant, and now Daybreak, I guess you can say, has been fair with the emulation community. They've left this alone for 24, 25 years until the hero's journey had that whole hiccup with the monetization stuff. And I mean, frankly, it shouldn't have done it. Like, and my initial response was, Daybreak, you guys are terrible. How dare you shut it down? But I see both sides of that story. You can't take somebody else's IP and then start making tens of $1,000s allegedly, right? So, but what I think they screwed the pooch on is they shouldn't have attacked Quorum. They made a 1,200 player limit. They said no more changes or upgrades to the client, like, meaning you can't add your own content. Like, they took a jab directly at the community. That, I mean, do you really think this Project Quorum is keeping me from playing live? I stopped playing live in 2006, and I'm not coming back because you guys I don't like your monetization. Well, we got to stay open as a company. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. If you require microtransactions to stay afloat, then I want you to be successful, but I'm not going to be a part of that success. I'm never coming back, right? Don't come and attack the community that is respecting the art that was left behind by Brad McQuaid, rest in peace, and all the other legends. I'm terrible with names, but I'm not ignorant to just one person. There was a group of these geniuses that got together and said, let's make a badass game. They didn't say, let's make a game that we can monetize and that we can, appeal to
Yeah.
different genres and people. And they said, no, let's make a badass game. Let's orcs and war and this and peace with like, it was so many, it's layered. It was a fantasy world, and for when Daybreak comes out and doesn't kind of give us the free range to emulate like we used to, it sucks, because that's why you might not see somebody work on a better client, maybe reprogram some things or port the game into Unity. There was people working on porting EQ into Unity. I think they recently shut that project down.
Wow.
There's people working on porting EQ into Unreal Engine. I think
I,
I'm not sure if they shut that one down, but
I've seen those. It looks amazing. I've seen
yeah,
YouTube videos of that. Yeah.
and here's, and this is, I mean them no ill will, right? I wish them success, but they will fall flat on their face and fail as an organization if they keep attacking the community that it loves EQ for what it is. You know, they might think they're saving a couple dollars right now with subscribers not leaving to go to the hero's journey, but I mean, ultimately, it's going to backfire on you when you kind of disrespect the IP that EverQuest is. I think it's very special to a lot of people, and when you say gatekeep and say you can't play the game unless you play it our way, and then pay us, this egregious monetization where I'm going off on a tangent, so I'm going to stop right there. As you can see, I haven't let out the emotion, but like I don't like to say negative things, but I feel negative things towards the organization that won't give the community what we want. Like give us EQ 1.5, remake the original EverQuest with higher fidelity textures, higher fidelity, yada 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 yada, and just World of Warcraft did it. It gave us a classic. They improved on the textures and other stuff. So many other games. Oblivion recently got remastered, right? Every single Warcraft one and Reforged, which Reforged wasn't that great, but all these different games hopped on the bandwagon and it's free money. It's like, do you not
Yeah.
like money? Do you
Exactly.
not like money? Just it's a money printer. Take the original, make it look fancier, give us access to it where the only monetization is a sub fee. I think that's classic, right? And make it so we can click a button on our desktop and log right into this world and go have fun. They would make so much money because, like I said, we're focused on the community that plays live right now. We're focused on the emulation community, but there's a third community out there that doesn't think about EQ, doesn't look for EQ. But if somebody put it in their face and said, yo, look at this,
Yeah.
just like when you were a kid, but with fresh graphics, same art style, same everything, just polished and it runs smooth. You just click a button on your, on 5080. I just got one. And it just, boom, you're in.
Wow. Nice.
And you don't have to be a computer whiz. Like you said, it's stressful trying to set up these emulators, man. I actually haven't been back in EQ. If somebody that watches my channel, they'll notice I haven't posted a Quarm video in like almost a year. And there's other reasons for that. But my, what was it? I had a 9070 XT. And then before that, I think I had like a 9600, really powerful graphics card. But for some reason, I started having graphical issues. And it was probably something wrong with my drivers, but it was just too much for me. I didn't want to mess with it. I'm just like, I'll go play something else like Monsters and Memories. So now I just recently this is kind of pathetic, but I got a 5080. So
Wow.
I moved from Team Red to Team Green. Yeah, it's good to have a grown-up job and not be 11 anymore, right? How far we've come. And now I tested Quarm the other night, and the graphical glitches I had are gone. So I'm coming back to Quarm soon, baby.
Dude, that's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Hell yeah. Oh man, we touched on so much. Wow, we touched on so much. My mind is just racing. Yeah, I definitely don't want to harp on the negative stuff, but just I
Yeah,
think
I apologize for
no,
that.
no, no, it's
Yeah,
okay. No, I was gonna say like THJ. I think they were making like 20 G's a month, which is crazy. And and then secrets in hindsight.
allegedly.
I think that was the best decision for Quarm. It's unfortunate, like the player cap and stuff. I get it, but I think in hindsight, I think this is the right thing to do. And
Secrets did the right thing. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and here's
shout
the
out
thing:
to
you don't
Secrets.
know if they did the right thing or not. The fact is, Secrets made a decision in the moment that I can do nothing right now, or I can do something and show my goodwill for the sake of my community. So it was almost like a
Yeah,
sacrifice.
yeah,
Who knows? Maybe somewhere in another universe, if Secrets didn't say anything, they would have just left the Quorum community alone. Or
Yeah.
what if they didn't? In another universe, what if they came and just shut the whole thing down? So we'll never know like what's good, what's bad. The fact is, Secrets clearly cares about the community that they built
Yeah.
and wants the best for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that we had to like basically bow the knee to this corporation telling us we can only have 1,200 play, yada yada yada, and it sucks, and I'm not over it. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I think shout out to Secrets, like you said. On a positive note, amazing, amazing individual that has done
Yeah.
an amazing job with that project.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Shout out to Secrets. It's all passion. It's all just a passion project. Absolutely no money at all from it. Just doing it as like a fun thing for emulation, So it's huge. And man, actually too. So the short that you have, this wasn't even on my list, but just from listening to you talk there, you have an amazing short when you captured Sean, a loving robot from the Monsters and Memories team, how he said he pretty much outlined what Daybreak needs to do in order to basically, like recreate EverQuest, remove all the microtransactions, use the cash from that. If you just charge $15 a month or whatever the sub is, then you can make EverQuest 3 and it would just be huge.
2020, and this is big for me,
And
right?
I'll
Because I
link
said
that,
it.
of course, but you're a genius
Well,
for capturing this.
well, here's the crazy thing. It's crazy to me because, like I told you at the beginning, like I'm not a content creator, I'm not a streamer. I literally just started this because I wanted to capture my memories, right? And I wanted to do this for a long time, like even like 10 years ago, right? And I just didn't have the resources or whatever, what have you. But 23,000 views, right? To a content creator, that might be like, oh, so what? 23,000 views, I get that in a day. Like, it's huge for me. And when I say for me, I mean, I'm like, I'm so glad people got to see this because, like you said, Sean made some really good points. There's over 236 comments, which means that there's a lot of people that had an opinion and they put in their 2 cents, and some of them were nasty, as in like, negative, and some of them were very positive. And there's a lot more hope than negativity. There's a lot of people that are checked out, but more overwhelmingly, there's just people that are like, heck yes, this is what we want. Oh, and if they did this, that, people really want this,
Yeah.
and then the funny thing is like there's like maybe one or two comments that say this is a terrible idea. There's only really two sides of the coin here. There's people that are super excited, they want it to happen, or they're just super negative and they're like, it will never happen because of Daybreak, but I still want it, essentially. And yeah, Sean is amazing. I'm so glad. Like I listened to this dude talk, and I'm like, he kind of reminds me of my older brother because my brother was 5 years older than me. So as a kid, I was always hanging around older kids. So I was 11, I'd be around 16, 17 year olds. I was 15, I was around 20-year-olds. I was, it's like I was always around the older crowd. So I grew up pretty young, quickly. And when I listened to Sean, I'm like, this dude reminds me of people I used to hang out with. Like we would be skateboarding, right? I would be with my little skateboard trying to learn, and then he would be doing like kick flips and like doing huge gaps and grinding. And like, I want to be like him when I grow up. And here, like listening to heavy metal or listen to like 311. 311 is still my favorite band. But I listened to him
Nice.
talk. I'm like, this guy just reminds me of somebody I grew up with. And it's so exciting to hear that person, and then also to be streaming the development of Monsters and Memories and this game that you're excited about. And yeah, he's got some really good takes and some good points. I really have a lot of respect for that guy and the whole M&M team. Nick is great. Zukin is incredible.
Yeah.
And I can keep going. They're all amazing.
Oh man, no, it's great. I only wish I could catch the streams. I was kind of a fan for a while because I got into Project 1999 for a while, and I was always wondering if there was any like EverQuest developers or any kind of conversations around EverQuest. Like I was like, well, what ended up happening with that game? Because my real life buddy Kazrax was like, "Hey man, you got to play this with me." So I checked it out, and I don't know, I got sucked back in. That's how I got sucked back into it, as Project 1999, and then that's how I found ALovingRobot. Even before all the Monsters and Memories stuff, I was like, "Man, this is great. This is a former developer kind of having these long form conversations with like." Former EverQuest people. It's just a good thing to have up on a second monitor while you're grinding, you know.
Yeah, dude.
So
I actually that that I remember seeing those videos where he interviewed the old devs, and it
yeah,
was like, anyways, I agree with everything you said. By the way, it's really cool that you have a real life friend that you get to play EQ with. You know, it's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I watched the other interview you had. I think it was the very last one, and you were touching on that point, and that was really, really cool. I'm jealous.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I used to actually I used to have that. My next door, and nobody is gonna look. So I was gonna say his first and last name. I mean, I don't think it matters, right? People have similar names. Well, anyways, let's just say his last name. So first name and then last name Kovachev. So Kovachev, it's a Bulgarian name. I see the Bulgarian flags. My best friend
Oh,
growing up
nice.
was Bulgarian.
Shout out to
Shout out
Bulgaria.
to Bulgaria. And that was my next door neighbor, and we used to play EverQuest, but he turned into more of a WoW head, so
Oh
tension
man.
there.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, and then
And
it's
he actually went to work to Blizzard, which
oh
was
wow,
crazy. He
dude.
lived out his dream of yeah, he's an amazing person. I love him to death. He'll always be my best friend. We went separate ways a long time ago, but like I haven't had a lot of best friends, but it was like the definition of a best friend. It's like you walk home from school with him and you talk the whole way back, and then like you talk when you're at home, and then you talk on the way back to school. Like I swear we had the best childhood.
Wow.
Because we had the technology, like the cusp of technology, like when smartphones started coming out in the 2000s. So if you grew up in the 90s, you got to play outside, ride bikes, build forts. Just so much freaking fun, dude. Growing up was amazing. I'm
Yeah. Yeah,
sorry.
it goes by fast. It goes by fast for sure. But
It does. It's scary.
now I was gonna say, yeah, with Kazrax, I think he actually got into World of Warcraft a lot too. Like he's probably spent, and isn't it crazy too? I'm sure you can attest to this. I've probably spent more time in World of Warcraft and other games more than EverQuest, but there's just something so magical about it. I just can't really get away from it. And that's something we often thought of. Like, what if we could just have like more modern stuff, like some more quality of life stuff, but still kind of keep EverQuest? That's what I wanted in WoW.
Exactly.
But even then, like, I don't remember the zones. I don't remember the raids to the same extent. Like, World of Warcraft was nice. It had a lot of polish, but it just didn't have that same impact to me. I respect it. It's great. Like, I love it. It's not what
Great
EverQuest
game.
was to me. Yeah.
See, the thing is, it's a great game, right? It's a great game. So I've beaten more of that World of Warcraft than I have EQ because I treated it like a game. EverQuest, I always treated it like a world. And for me, that was the main difference. I think WoW is very well made. I think the art style, the world, the mechanics, everything. But at a certain point of time, you realize that you are just playing a game to reach this, so you can reach this tier of loot, and then you can repeat, move on to the next tier of loot, and then repeat. And you do this on a linear scale until you reach 60. And you go to Battlegrounds or PvP. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
EQ didn't have that feeling. I didn't feel like I needed to follow this path or that path. If I wanted to make a mule and just sell stuff in East Common Lands, or if I want to follow a trade skill, you know what I would used to do? This is crazy. I used to be a low level, right? I'd be like level 7, level 5, and I would take my butt out of Kelethin, and I would travel all the way to Lava Storm Mountains, right? And I would crawl into that cave where those goblins are. They drop fine steel weapons, and I'm dodging like high level mobs, and then there would be a group. I'd be like, "Hey guys, you guys mind if I loot that?" I'm like level 5 in a level 40, 50 zone, asking if I could loot the
Man,
fine
that's
steel
awesome.
weapons. They don't need them, right? So you find these like side hustles
That's
basically,
amazing.
you know,
Wow.
and and that creativity, it pulls you out of the game, and that's what, like, I'm like, I don't like, obviously nobody like exploits, right? But that, and I wouldn't consider that an exploit. But there's some things like where maybe people use pathing tricks to make the mob not hit them, right? I'm not talking about that kind of exploits, but I feel like there should be a way to give a character the ability to get creative and reward people. Like, for example, in M&M, how you can do retail arbitrage, you know? Um, Let the game world just be organic with all of its complex systems and everything. Don't try to over polish, don't try to overbalance. Just let it be. And if somebody figures out a secret like I did, even though it was dumb and dangerous, just let it be. Right? Don't put a level cap on a sword. If a level 50 wants to give me a level 40 sword, don't say cannot use until level 40, because I immediately realize I'm playing a video game and I immediately get turned off. And I don't like the gamification of games, and I like that EQ. It felt like a open source fantasy experience and less of a game, and you can play it however you want. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
But WoW was good. WoW was good, like you said. I mean, I played it, and I don't have as many memories about it as you do, but I have actually probably beaten more of WoW than I have EQ.
Yeah. Um, do you have any more kind of like EverQuest stories? Any did you ever like troll anybody as a druid? You know, one time like a druid, I was like, hey, you know, can you please port me to wherever? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they ported me to like, I don't know, Cobalt Scar or somewhere in
Yep.
Velius, and dropped the group and left me there. I was like, oh man, just stuff
That's
like that.
hilarious. That's hilarious because I've done something like that by accident. I think it's not Cobalt Scar, but there's a specific port that you get where you have to be in Viz. Like, if you don't have the faction, you have to be in Viz because there's a dragon waiting right there.
Yeah. Or it might have been Great Divide, sorry, but either
Yeah,
way.
it
Yeah.
was it was something like that. But I know what you're saying. So here's the thing. I was on Tunair. That was the server I was on, and I was on Valenczek. It was either Talonzek or Valenczek. I think no, Valenczek. I remember Valenczek was the PvP server. This is in the early '90s, early 2000s. As far as trolling or being bad, I was like 11, 12, 13, right? So this is gonna sound terrible,
I would
but
call it being mischievous, maybe a little playful. That kind of falls into the elf archetype. You know, we're going to get to it. Sorry, I was preparing myself for the interview. I saw when you pulled the sand giant in Monsters and Memories. That's one of your fun highlights. We'll get
oh
to
my
that when we
gosh.
get to the Monsters and Memories stuff. So that's kind of why I'm asking now
Well,
if there was ever anything.
I'll save that for later. But yeah, no, it's definitely obviously it's classic. You're in Crushbone. You're This is one of the things I find so funny. So you got to imagine it, right? Somebody goes AFK, they're at the zone line, they're medding, they need to go get some coffee or a snack, and they're like, I'm just gonna sit at the zone line, and then when I come back in 20 minutes, I'm gonna restart my gameplay. Terrible idea. Like, you don't want to sit at a zone line, right? And completely honest, you're just grouping with your boys. You and like three other people, and then you get one mob and then an extra mob, and you're like, oh crap, now legionnaires on me, and now there's like 10 of them, and you're running, and then now the pawns are joining, now the centurions are joining, there's like 30 freaking mobs, and you're running with all your friends to the zone line, and you see the guy that you saw earlier, the little dwarf with the AFK symbol, as he's sitting there at the zone line, completely oblivious at the terror that's coming his way.
Sorry, my
And
friend.
every single time I would start I would zone out. And because you can't see what's happening to him, but I would start rolling laughing because I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he's so dead. And I would find that funny because, I mean, honestly, it's just honest fun. Now, if you intentionally doing it, I'm not really a fan of doing that. I don't like taking away progression. Like, I'd say The most evil thing I've ever done in the EQ as a kid, mischievous, we'll call it that, is we back in the day, it was very common for us, and I'm a huge advocate of this in games, dropping your bag, logging off, and logging back in on your other character to transfer stuff. My spot would be on the Kelethin platforms. I would go, like, you know how you can go behind the bank and
Yeah.
you'd still be on the platform?
Yeah.
I would, it's not me specifically, but people would drop their bag, log out, and then log back in. Obviously I use common sense. I'm 11. I'm super smart. So I would go to like the least populated part of Kelethin where you're up there. I'd make sure nobody was around. I'd go behind. I'd drop my bag. I'd log into my alt and I'd collect the stuff. Right. Whenever I didn't want to ask for help. Obviously, I'm like 11, 12, 13. And I'm mischievous. So I would sit there and I'd watch. I'd sit there at the bank and I'm like, I watch these people. I'd see just coming in and out. And then I'd see that one guy that comes out of the bank and then goes behind the bank. Wait a little bit. All of a sudden, he's nowhere to be found. But what do I find? I see the bag of stuff that he left for his other character. Yoink!
Nice.
I'm gone.
It's
And
hey, I
honestly,
mean,
look, and honestly, I've only done that like maybe once, but it was the mischievous thoughts, and I think I returned everything. It was the fact that you could do that. Again, it goes back to the being organic and the open source world of just do whatever you want. Like one of my biggest gripes. I know you might ask about this later, but Pantheon, in any game, I don't like it when you can't attack the guards or the NPCs. Again, gamification of games. Why can't I attack this guard? In
yeah.
EQ, you can do it, right? Um, why can't I drop my loot? Why can't I take this bag and drop it on the floor? Like the most weird stuff that modern games do right now, I just don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
why would you intentionally program it that you can't drop your bag? Why would you intentionally program it that you can't do this or that or that? Now, you add level caps, you add this. It's just, that's,
Yeah, it
uh,
starts to feel like there's guardrails on everything. Like it really does take you out of it. Absolutely. It's
when we were kids, one of the things, remember what we used to dream of? We used to dream of, oh, I can't wait till games come out where there's no more invisible walls,
yeah.
right? We would have these games, we'd play on PlayStation and 64, and like there was invisible walls. And you're like, man, I wish I could run over there over the horizon. Well, now we can do that. Why create more guardrails? Why create more invisible walls? That's the way I see it. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
so mischievous, obviously the trains and then that, which again, like I said, I did not do that intentionally all the time. It's just that I was a kid, so I was smart. Kids are pretty smart, and I was sitting there observing the situation, and the fact that I figured that out because I knew if I did it, somebody else did it, was really cool. But I didn't take advantage of it.
That's really nice of you. That's yeah.
Evil.
Yeah, man. And I got to say too, there's times where you know, that game really kind of hammered in the fear of death in me. There's so many
Mm.
times where you're running for the zone line. It's so exhilarating. You don't even have time to say, "Hey, train to zone," whatever. You just go. And there's something just so thrilling about barely making it out and knowing that someone was there on the other side and
Oh my gosh.
that poor
Yeah.
bastard. I'm
Poor
sorry.
bastard. Poor
Yeah.
bastard.
But anyway, yeah. Wow, okay. Um and yeah, so you didn't do much raiding. I was gonna ask if you had any like raid stories or any kind of fun raid moments. Did you ever go after the epic weapons or kind of do anything like that?
Not yet.
Um,
I've yet to raid. I've yet to do epics. You know, yeah, man.
that'll be fun.
Honestly,
Maybe we could
the
do it.
world is my oyster.
Yeah, no, I got you. Maybe we can.
I'm gonna do it on stream. No, for sure. So again, keep in mind, the beauty of my situation is that I've yet to experience these things. And like I told you, the reason I started the channel was so I can document these memories because I want to be able to come back.
Same
This
for
is gonna
me.
sound weird. I will rewatch all my streams. Like I said, I created my YouTube channel for me. I didn't create it for people. I didn't create it to get viewers. I didn't create it for anyone but myself. So I rewatch my old streams. I listen to the conversations that we're having. I read the in-game text, I experience the world. Like I don't rewatch the same thing over and over, but I'll watch it at least once. So we have we have 25 years. I'm not talking about the expansions, but we have so many experiences we haven't had yet. So the raids, the bosses, the epics. I'm gonna make sure that when I do that, I'm recording it all. It's all going to be live stream, and I'm going to be so excited that I'm going to get to experience it, because now that I understand what it's like to have a community, like probably one of the biggest blessings on the internet I've ever had is actually, now that people are engaged, such cool people. Like there's no one negative. There's no trolls. They're just, everyone is so unique and nice, and they just come out and hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two people come out and they're assholes. I'm like, I'm gonna ban this fool. Just, I don't need that negativity. I mean, this is not a place where you can just come in and say whatever you want. This is a place where you can come and hang out. Like in real life, right? If you go outside and somebody like flips the bird at you, are you gonna, let me be your friend? No, you're gonna be like, all right, man, get out of here. I don't need that negativity in my life. And I'm
Yeah.
so blessed and happy that everyone is so kind in this community exists, because when I do have those experiences and go on those raids and get the epics, it is gonna be a group adventure, and I'm so excited for it, dude. It's gonna be great. But yeah, I'm a newbie. Like in the grand scheme of things, when you think about it, I've been playing EQ for 25 years. I'm a freaking noob.
No, it's awesome. I think that's very beautiful, and it's exactly like you said. I could play for another 20 years, and I probably will still enjoy it and not see it all. And I'm the same way. I only did one epic ever, and that was my rogue epic weapon. I also did the 1.5 later on, like in Omens of War or whatever. But my goal was to also do that as well on Quarm. I want to stream, kind of do some adventuring and get an epic,
Is the
kind of
rogue
document
epic the
everything.
one that is the rogue epic the one that's like a long pole and it has the glowy thing, or is that the shaman epic?
That's the Shaman epic, yeah. The Spear
Okay,
of Fate or the
the
Spear
spear.
of Destiny, I think is what it's called. That one looks really cool. The
That was
Rogue
really
epic
cool.
is actually probably the worst looking one, to be honest with you. It's just a little basic dagger, and if you look very, very closely, you see like a little poison drip. It's very small. It's
Oh yeah,
minuscule. Yeah.
I remember that now.
All the other ones have fancy badass particle effects, but I like it. It's very sleek, it's subtle. Yeah, for sure. So but yeah, and I still have it to this day. Actually, I have it here somewhere. I printed out the actual like paper guide from Alakazam back in the day. Um,
It's
anyway,
awesome, dude.
yeah, yeah.
I love that. Congratulations, by the way,
Oh,
that you
thanks,
actually have your epic.
thanks.
So have it, had it, same thing. You experienced it. So to
Yeah,
many more epics.
yeah. I hope so. I hope so for sure. How are you? How are you doing on time? All good?
Oh
How are we?
no, we're good. I'm on your time right now. You made the time for this. You invited me here. I'm on your time, and look, I really appreciate this, because um, who would have thought? Again, like I just mentioned, the community thing. Like you reaching out and saying, "Hey, do you want to collab on something like this?" I never imagined in a million years that we would be having this conversation. I never imagined in a million years, like a live stream I did 4 weeks ago had like 3,000 views. I was like, where are these people coming from?
Dude, I saw that. That's
I'm,
amazing.
and here's the thing, like I'm not used to that. I'm used to maybe a couple hundred, whatever. And it's like, and even that, I don't pay attention to that. What I pay attention to is people that comment, because they're all regulars and I respond to each one of them, right? But when I see 3,000 people come out of nowhere, I'm like, that's starting to be too much, man. Like, I worry sometimes about what happens if too many people start coming, and I know this sounds weird, but it's a lot of pressure, man, because I'm not trying to be like super public. I'm not, you know, I know I talk a lot. I mean, based on our conversation, but this is just the way I always am. So I really appreciate you inviting me here, because there's nothing cooler than hanging out with like-minded people about this kind of stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and looking forward to many future things and collabs, especially with monsters and memories on the horizon. So definitely going to be exciting.
Man, I feel the exact same way. I feel the exact same way. So thank you. Yeah. And that's one of the things I always tell people. I don't have like a pre-made kind of group of friends playing this. I mean Kazrax is my
Same.
friend. I'll always go out of my way to play with him. We kind of live, we're in the same time zone. We have a slightly different schedule, whatever. But man, oftentimes I turn on the stream. I'm live in the moment. Whatever happens, happens. I don't exactly have a plan. If people want to play, that's great, but if not, then I'll try to make it work. But basically, I'm not going into this with like a huge group of so I'm always open to
Static
playing with
group, or
anybody.
yeah, you don't have like a static group or like
Yeah,
anything set in mind, which is great for other people, and neither do I.
yeah, and I
I'm
haven't
I'm
I haven't 100% decided what I'm gonna play yet. I'm leaning towards rogue, and I always tell people I'm gonna need you guys, because as a rogue by myself, I'm not gonna be able to do a whole lot, or I
yeah.
I can, but it's very difficult. So it's very I like that too. It's like I like the group dependency. I think that's really interesting that these games get right. That's another thing I haven't felt in a while since EverQuest. It's like the world is dangerous. We need each other. I need you because you can heal. You can transport us everywhere. You have thorns, whatever. You need me because I have DPS.
Absolutely.
This guy's a tank. It's great. It really is. So I'm really looking forward
You
to it.
don't see that every day anymore. It's like every class can do everything.
Yes. Yes.
It's just uh, there's no class identity at all. You want to AOE, you can AOE. You want to teleport, you can teleport. You want to resurrect, and they do it for the sake of being solo friendly. Bro,
Yeah.
I've been soloing since 1999. What is this thing about you need to design your game to be solo friendly? What the heck? What are you talking about? You could always solo in EverQuest. Oh, I want to solo as a warrior.
Yeah.
Okay, guess play a different game. Like, think about it. Sure, let's use Lord of the Rings as an example. Aragorn, super powerful dude. He's got his big sword. He's a ranger slash warrior, but he's out of arrows, right? And he's got his big sword. But you see Saruman over there, which is a freaking wizard. Who do you think is gonna win on a one-on-one fight? The dude that can send lightning bolts at you, or the dude with the sword running at you, and that needs to close the gap? Probably the dude with the big staff shooting the lightning bolts. It's just normal. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a
Better
time
not
for
miss though. I'm coming at you with that sword. You better not miss. But yeah, you're
ex-
right. You're absolutely
hey
right.
man,
You
a-
never know.
and there's a very fun time to play as Aragorn, and there's a very fun time to play as Sauron, and to some degree, Aragorn might be able to solo, the,
No, I
to
got you though. That's
most of the times Gandalf can definitely, or Saruman can solo, right? Because they have these extra utilities. But
yeah.
to make it so that any class can do this, I just think it's the wrong move, man. I think
Yeah.
every single class should have I think every class should be created creatively enough where people can figure out how to solo to some degree, right? If the game completely lacks creativity, it's not so much of make this class soloable, just make a better class, right? Like a rogue, you can just say, oh, they can't solo, you got to be grouped, or you can make it so that there's one of their trade skills, which is poison making. It causes this poison to do a similar effect to where a druid would snare a mob. So you sneak, you're hidden. You get the upper hand on a mob. You backstab them to get a critical. The poison snares it. Now you run away and you're using throwing daggers as a rogue to continue the hits.
Yeah.
Snare wears off. The rogue is now at risk. They do some kind of blip where they go invisible for a moment. Like, it's not a permanent, it's just more like a confusion skill, right? Gives you enough time to get behind the mob, backstab it. You're not, then you pop out of invisibility, but you use the same pointy trade skill poison that's on your dagger to snare it again and repeat. Now you're kiting as a rogue. So I feel like you can be creative and you can make it so that we can figure out how to solo, right? And I just made all that stuff. I don't think any of that exists in Monsters and Memories or anything. There might be like poison. I think they're discussing poison as a trade skill, but that was an example of how you can take a melee class that normally couldn't solo and maybe get creative. Now you might not be able to kite like 15 mobs like a bard can, and you might not be able to do trios or quads like a druid can.
Yeah.
I mean, but
But I
you can
love
still
that.
just do one in between groups.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean?
if you really want to, it's not impossible. It's difficult, but
Exactly.
it's possible. I love that. Yeah.
Creative class design will always trump making every class do everything. Just make the classes creative, unique, different. Let us figure out how to do the soloing part. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier, and I'll keep saying it: gamification of games.
Yeah.
Don't over gamify stuff, man. Just let us figure it out. Don't think in this context of, well, if I do this, how will he feel? I don't need you thinking about my feelings. Oh, I want to be respectful of his time when he gets off work. Stay out of my personal life. Don't worry about my work schedule. Don't worry about my kids. If the game is good enough, I'm going to come and play it. If it's
Yeah.
garbage, I'm not, you're right. I'm not going to have enough time with
Yeah.
it. You know, but I hear this conversation all the time. It's like, oh, this game won't work in the 2026 because people are too busy. Nothing has changed. I would even argue we're probably less busy than we were in the 90s. We didn't have chat gbt answering every single question. We didn't have social media where you
Yeah.
or phones where you can like send messages back and forth in instantaneous time to get answers that you normally would have to drive to or find a payphone for. You want to talk about busy, you have to disconnect from the internet to make a phone call in the 90s because it's connected to your phone line.
Yeah.
How are we more busy now than we were when it was in the 90s or early 2000s? I think it's just a cope. The fact of the matter is game design has gone in the way of focusing on stats, on metrics, on on graphs, and all these other on Steam DNGs, DMVGs, whatever you call it, and psychology and all this stuff. Stop.
Yeah.
Just make a good game.
Yeah.
Make good class design, right? And I think that's what I like. Again, I said this earlier. I really like Sean and ALovingRobot for this. They just keep it real. They're like, we're just trying to make a world. We're trying to make a world you want to be in. You know, you might like some things, you might not like some things, but we're just trying to make the game that we're gonna have fun playing on our own.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I really love that. I love how brutally honest they are and upfront. And like, it's very
You
rare
have to
now.
be.
They're not trying to sell you a dream. Oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have all these systems in place. No, it's like, hey, here's what we have right now. Does this make sense? Like, does this work okay? I love that. I love how honest they are. And
You have to be, because honestly, the MMO community can be pretty cutthroat. You give them an inch, they take a mile. You know, there's never a way of satisfying everyone. So you got to stick with your guns. And if people say, "Well, that means your game is trash," I'm like, "All right, bet, bye, bye,
yeah.
Felicia. Don't play my game.
And I love how
Get out of
they're
here."
okay with just saying, well, you know what, this game might not be for you. I love that so much. You can't have a game
Peace.
for all people.
Yeah,
It's
and
true.
it's
And
not even being like, and not to be mean or negative or toxic, but it's just like we all have to use common sense. We all might have opinions. We all might have an imagination, but you just got to let these guys cook. This is
yeah,
their project. This is their time and money spent. They're completely they're completely self-funded in the sense that they're not collecting any monetization, any money. They don't have a GoFundMe. They don't have a Kickstarter. They're not getting paid. They don't have a publisher. They're literally just dudes in their apartments and homes with families and jobs, taking time out of their day to get on Discord with other like-minded people and figure out how to play, how to build a freaking MMORPG on their
yeah,
own dime.
yeah. I love
Sure,
that.
provide some suggestions, join the Discord, join the community, but like just saying, "Oh, this game is trash," unless you fix the X, Y, and Z, it's like you've missed the plot, man. You know. And unfortunately, again, this goes back to what I said earlier about my community. I think like 95, 98% of Monsters and Memories community is super positive. It's one of the best communities. Like we talk about EverQuest having an amazing community. The M&M community has been so welcoming. Like every time, like I met you through the M&M community. I met Classic EverQuest through the M&M community. I met Squats, the Goblin, through the M&M community. Zukin obviously is one of the. There's going to be people I miss, and for the sake of like not missing, I mean, I have a whole Discord of people that have come to my channel, and it's just me and the boys basically, all mainly from Monsters and Memories and Quarm. These are some of the coolest people I've met, you know, and they're so positive and they're so good. And I really wanted to mention focus on the good stuff because I could say some stuff right now that might trigger somebody, but in this particular point, I just want to focus on the positivity. What an amazing community, and I get to meet amazing people like Slayheim. Blessed,
Thanks.
man. That's great. I love
Thanks.
it.
No, dude, this is great. I absolutely agree. Wow. And just while you're talking, you reminded me of something I've been thinking about for a while, you know, and you know, like you said, the total gamification of stuff. I think there's like this creeping. I've been noticing it for a while, you know, and I feel like I mean, I'm not like a sort of like a gaming historian or anything, but it does seem like MMOs are kind of in trouble, and it does seem like they're kind of going away in the way that we like what we think of as an MMO. I know that might sound kind of crazy, but I just feel like games now are kind of embracing like this kind of MMO light kind of philosophy where there's like some kind of MMO there's just like a little bit of RPG elements here and there. It's like a little bit social, you know, but it's I don't know, man. It's weird. It's
When you think about, you can answer your own question because when you think about what made EverQuest feel like a world, it had continents of content. You
yeah.
had islands that you can go to where you could kill the cat people and kill what do you call those things? Will-o-wisps, and you can grind that for plat. You could go to Ocean of Tears, and you could find the one of my favorite grind spots was the spires, where there was alluring sirens, basically mermaids, and you can grind those from like level 10 to level 14. Which, by the way, if you're a warrior melee class, you can grind those and get like almost half a bubble of a yellow per kill. It's a world
Yeah.
filled to the brim of content, and not just content like static same level NPCs, scattered NPCs, lore, different architecture, different weather, different mechanics, like maybe you need to get on the boat, maybe you need to get on the spires and teleport to the moon. There's so much going on. And when you ask an MMORPG development team to say make an MMO, well, what is an MMO? Well, as far as I'm concerned, an MMORPG is a living, breathing world. You know, the
Yeah.
thing is, most developers, like Throne and Liberty, for example, I installed it. I actually played it on stream one time. The most beautiful game I've ever played as far as graphics are concerned in an MMORPG. I think the other one is like Black Desert Online. A beautiful world, but it felt dead. It felt dead. It didn't feel alive. I felt like nothing had a purpose or a meaning. It was just this is where I could come to grind to the next level and do the next event. Everything else was monetization. Everything was mechanics. Everything else was just click this button to do this. Again, gamification. The problem is, I think it's too expensive to make these games because the first expectation is to make a massive living, breathing world. Then the modern audience probably wants it to be incredibly Unreal Engine graphics, right? And then there's got to be the solo players, the group players, the community players, the people that want the 150 different abilities, like RuneScape or something. They're trying to please everyone, and when you're trying to please everyone, you please no one.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
they don't have an identity for that reason. They don't know what they are. They don't know what they are. All they know is that somebody has given them money to make a game, and they don't know which voice to listen to. I mean, it's just Meanwhile, you have somebody like, the Monsters and Memories crew, Niche World Cult. Why do they call themselves Niche World Cult? Because they understand right from the get go that they're a niche. It's a niche market, what they're trying to achieve. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Niche just means it's a specific focused community. They have they're targeting something specific. When EQ came out in 1999 or 2000, I think there was how many hundreds of thousands of subs? 333, 300,000 subs. You
Yeah,
know,
something like that.
there's
Yeah.
the modern audience isn't gonna like Monsters and Memories. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because no one's playing EverQuest, which in order to emulate, you have to do 20 things like we talked about earlier, and there's that barrier eventually there.
Yeah.
Or because you're comparing it to EQ Live, which is a huge departure from what classic EverQuest was. Completely different game, completely different mechanics, completely different feeling. Still a good game and for a specific group of people, but EverQuest Live is a different game than EverQuest. So just to make the assumption of nobody wants to play Monsters and Memories because it's a niche game, it's like no, this might be the thing about being a niche game, that they're so focused that they know exactly what they want to accomplish. They know exactly what they want to create. They're not focused on pleasing people. They're focused on creating a world. Like Brad McQuaid said, he's like, I want to create worlds, not games. And I get the same vibe from, because think about it. If you're Sean, if you're a loving robot, if you're Nick, you got better stuff to do than make video games for free, right? They want to make a game that they want to play at the end of the day. Otherwise, why are they wasting their time? So they can get 1,000 players, log in, pay a $15 a month sub for like a year, and then waste all that money and time for it to fail. They're not making it so they can succeed financially. They're making it because they really want to create that same experience. And it's not nostalgia. It's not, oh, you just play these games for nostalgia. Sure, some people initially, they go back to their old games because they want to go back to nostalgia, right? Nostalgia baiting, whatever. That's not
Yeah.
what this is. It's a different type of experience. It's a different type of game. It's something that modern games don't offer. That is the reason why we keep coming back to these old games. It's not about nostalgia. It's an experience, and that's that. And Monsters and Memories does a really good job of proving that point, because it's completely modern and there's nothing nostalgic about Monsters and Memories. It's a completely new IP. It's a completely new world. I mean, there might be some things that remind you of EverQuest, but otherwise, it's a completely different world. You know,
Yeah.
um, I'm off on a tangent. I
No,
just want
no.
to say, like,
This
I'm
is
so
beautiful.
excited for these people, dude. They're doing a great job.
Yeah. No, that was really beautiful. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. And you know what? I just want to mention this too. You would really appreciate this. Secrets shared an email with me from Brad McQuaid in 2013, and rest his soul,
Wow.
he was a prophet, because you nailed on something that he mentioned. I'll share it with you. But he basically just said, like, we need to move away from, and I'm just paraphrasing, but we need to
Mm-hmm.
move away from like these mega million subscriber games that are, you basically try to make a game for everyone and it ends up being a game for no one. It's just like
For
a
no one.
lowest common denominator game. So he said we need to basically have like maybe 10 or 20 games that are niche and have small communities that are perfectly sustainable with, you know, 10, 20,000 people, and it'll still be profitable. You don't need like millions of subscribers. So
You don't.
it's a really beautiful thing. So yeah, no,
And
that's great.
so it's good to know that there's like-minded people out there, and Brad was one of them, and Secrets is one of them, and there's just look, this thing that we're trying to accomplish, it's not impossible. I think that's the good news. I know we talk about like the sad state of affairs of MMOs, and every single content creator, the big ones I'm talking about, like Josh Stripe Hayes and Lazy Peon, and then there's tons of other ones, great content creators.
Yeah,
But every single one of them says the same thing. Most of the videos start off, welcome to the sad state of affairs of MMORPGs. It's just like so much negativity. It's like maybe you're not looking in the right place. Sure, modern AAA games that are MMORPGs are trash and have been trash. But so has almost every game that has released from a AAA company, and it's for the exact same reason. The same exact
Mm.
reason MMORPGs aren't coming out that are good is the same reason why AAA games are releasing first-person shooters, uh, real-time strategy, or any other genre, and they're just not doing a good job because they're given a bunch of money, they're not given the freedom to create. It's basically just a job. It's when we were kids, we dreamed of working at Blizzard. We dreamed of working at Sony because we imagined going into a place where I get to make video games. And I'm sure that's how a lot of devs went into it. But when they went into that office, they realized that they have no creative freedom. They have to do just what they're told. And they don't have the passion to create it. I don't think that there's a bunch of bad games. I think there's bad companies. And there's a lot of good games from the indie world. I think this is the best time for gaming. We have never had this many different games, different diverse games coming from so many different directions. Forget the AAA companies, forget the billionaire corporations. Focus for 1 second on literally 99% of everything out there. There is so much to do. So don't tell me that the MMO scene is dead. Don't tell me this. Not
I
only is
love
it not
that.
dead, but you still have 25-year-old games like EQ, World of Warcraft, RuneScape that are still going to this day. That doesn't look dead. It's not even on life support. They're massively successful. And then on top of that, you have Turtle WoW, you have Ascension, you have Return of the Reckoning, which is the whatchamacallits. For whoever knows. You have Project Gorgon, you have Guild Wars Reforged, you have Guild Wars 2. I'm looking at my desktop right now of all the MMOs I've installed. You have Adrullan Online, you have Monsters and Memories, you have that Star Wars one, you have Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. It's like the list goes on. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Now, not all of them are finished, not all of them are well polished, and some of them are super, super old. But the fact of the matter is, it's still possible to make a good game. And I'm sure Monsters and Memories is going to do that.
Man, I
Believe it.
love that. I love that.
Have to believe it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, that's a perfect segue into monsters and memories. By the way,
I,
my wife is making fun of me. So here's the thing. I'm sure you've heard the meme. So as a Slavic person, it's obligatory to wear Adidas. That's all I've ever had. That's what my dad has. 3 stripes for life. This is the only Nike thing that I have. I just so happen to be wearing it today. I hate Nike. I'm an Adidas fan,
how
and
funny.
this was
How
unplanned. Like, I actually had no idea that you would wear it. We're both wearing the sports hoodies. We're both Slavic dudes. It's awesome. So anyway,
no, that's hilarious. I was thinking the same thing. I was gonna comment about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a coincidence that we're both wearing hoodies. And I was just like, the only sad thing is that it wasn't Adidas.
dude, I know
Oh my
I
god.
messed this up, man. Wow, I can't believe
Do
it.
the Slavic squat.
Yeah, dude, I'm so embarrassed. Anyway,
No, that's funny, but no. Look, great segue to monsters and memories.
yeah,
And I just want to say this really quick before you ask the question. This is more towards like viewers, listeners, communities. Like, I think we all have great ideas and great opinions on what makes a good MMORPG. I'm assuming we're back, right?
yep, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Make sure.
I think everyone's opinions are valid when it comes to MMORPGs, what makes a good MMORPG and stuff like that. So here's the thing, man. As a community, we can disagree on what makes a good MMO, but let's agree to disagree. Let's share our opinions. Let's share our ideas, and let's use constructive feedback to help these devs make the games that we want to see. Meanwhile, while encouraging them, like when my I have 3 kids, right? When my kids are doing art, right? Do I critique them and say, no, don't do it like this? Like, that's not how you draw a dragon. Like, no, they'll draw and say, Dad, what do you think of this? I'm like, this is incredible. It's incredible because I'm looking at it through the vantage point of what their interests are. Now, if they come back and say, what can I improve? I can be like, well, what are you going for? Are you trying to make it look hyper realistic, or do you want it to continue being this fantasy that you're exploring? I want it to be more realistic. Okay, well, maybe add some more texture. Maybe add some more shading. Like, I used to be an illustrator when I was a kid. I used to draw like crazy, right? So maybe I do have something to offer that can improve my son's project. but I'm not just gonna be like, that's not how I would make it. That looks terrible. That's just a mean thing to do.
That's a
And the
beautiful
same
way to
to
look at it.
yeah, and it's like in the same token, this is the game development is an art form, and I think we all have an idea of what makes a great MMORPG, but at the same time, we need to give the developers space, especially the ones that are not in it for the money. Those are those are the ones that we, as they say, protect them at all costs, right? We got to protect them at all costs. But yeah, man. So if anyone's listening to this and they heard something that disagree with, great. Disagree with me. It's all about having a conversation and about learning from each other. So I respect everyone's viewpoints, and I don't think that my viewpoints are right. I know my viewpoints are right. No, just kidding. I don't think my viewpoints are right. It's just my opinion on stuff, right? So that's all. But yeah, monsters and memories, man. Go for it.
No, I love it. That's very beautifully said. And can I just say, I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm so excited that people are into it and they're coming from all different sort of walks of life. We all have like a different perspective. We've all kind of played EverQuest in some form of another, like whatever expansion we got to, whatever, whether we play, live or emulated server. But then too, there's people that haven't even played EverQuest that are into it, and that's what I love. People coming from World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 11, that's another interesting one. But man, here's something too, like, okay, just to not to get negative, but it's just an observation. So like, and I need to, maybe this is an interesting video idea. I want to take like maybe some of the negative comments that I've gotten and do like a montage, because you don't know, so many people say this. They say, why would I play this game when I could go back and play EverQuest? Well, let me tell you something. Like, I don't think people realize how much like EverQuest has aged, for lack of a better term. So, like, one thing that bothers me, and people say, this is just one for one EverQuest. Why would I play this game? This is just an EverQuest clone. It's not, though. That's a fundamental misunderstanding,
I've heard that.
And another one that gets me too is like, there's people that are mad that like EverQuest people play it. They're like, oh, this is just a bunch of EverQuest veterans. So, well, we're coming from World of Warcraft, and that's good too. And dude, it's fine. Like, we can all
There's
enjoy
a lot
the
of
game.
people from World of Warcraft. Yeah.
It's influenced from so many other things. So anyway, it's just throwing that out there.
And I've noticed that too. I've noticed there's been an influx of younger people, right? So it's not just the boomer game. It's not just the millennial game. It's there's a lot of young people starting to explore this. And honestly, the classic MMO genre has been popular for some time. It's not a new phenomenon. There's a reason why classic EverQuest was so popular. It wasn't just because the veterans wanted to go back. It's because the younger generation deserves to experience what it's like to have a more simpler gameplay, right? And you're absolutely right. There's people from World of Warcraft. There's people from Final Fantasy, and it's only going to get more and more and more and more. Right now,
Yeah.
we're talking about alpha tests where you have to download a client from a website you've never heard of and log in and play at the exact perfect time to get into Monsters and Memories. What happens when it goes into early access? Right? It's going to be available to everyone freely. We haven't even seen the full scope of what could happen with M&M when it comes to the right people finding it. And by the right people, I mean any people, anyone that tries it and gives it a fair shot. It's very likely that they'll be like, this, there's something here. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it might not be for you, and that's a different conversation, right? Like, for example, I really liked Art Creators. Art Creators, I had so much fun, right? But then you put me into PUBG, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm terrible at these games. I suck.
Yeah.
But something about Arc Raiders, even though it's the exact same genre, because it has lore to it, it has a PvE element to it, it's got a beautiful art style, everything about the sound effects are incredible. I freaking love Arc Raiders. Now I stopped playing it after like a month or two, but again, it's you wouldn't be able to get me hooked on PUBG the same way Arc Raiders did. Same exact genre, they're just doing it different. And I think Monsters and Memories is definitely doing it different. And you're right, man. Like it was a good idea, by the way. Like the whole looking at different comments, and it's really just to kind of look at from their perspective. I've seen a lot of I've seen that's probably one of the most. If you took all these comments and statistically mention what is the most popular thing, I think one of the most popular things that people have said is why would I play this if I can play EverQuest? The easiest way to answer that question is try Monsters and Memories. Because every single person that has said that, yeah, I think even I thought that in the very, very beginning when I first heard about Eminem. I thought about that and I was like, but I can just play EverQuest. What I never thought would happen is Monsters and Memories has got into a state that is so good, in my opinion, that once it's finished, I don't see a reason to go back to EQ except for nostalgia. Like I told you right now, I don't play EQ for nostalgia. I play it because I like the content. Monsters and Memories, personally, this is like a hot take, has gotten so good and so much of a living, breathing world to the degree that I can see myself not going back to EverQuest after this, except for that little dose of nostalgia. Oh man, when I was 13. Yeah. Besides that, what's the point of going back to EQ is my argument because of how good Monsters and Memories is becoming. And that's not a knock on EverQuest. It's more of a testament to how well the Monsters and Memories team is creating its own world completely separate from EQ. Sure, there's similarities with EQ. There's also similarities to WoW. There's also similarities to Arcade. There's also similarities to Dark Age of Camelot. Amazing game. They need to make another Dark Age of Camelot. It's because here's the thing. ALovingRobot, yeah, he worked for Sony Online Interactive. He worked his way up to being a designer, a dev for the original EverQuest early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Nick, Nick Hotz is the Twitch name, and then you have Zook and you have other people. If you go on the monstersandmemories.com website and you look at the team, you read about each person. Some of them are EQ heads. Some of them are World of Warcraft people. Some of them are, like you said, maybe they played Lord of the Rings online. It's a combination of people that just love the MMO genre, and everyone got their special home. And I think Monsters and Memories is a combination of all of what makes MMOs great, which is what makes it really good. But yeah, obviously it reminds you of EQ a lot.
Yeah.
That's a given.
I think for me, the reason it reminds me of EQ, and that was very beautifully said, it's because of the classes. It's because of how the classes work. Like, like
Yeah.
we can specifically dive into that because I want to pick your brain about like kind of that class design philosophy. But just like your traditional tank heal DPS, but it's very EQ-esque. But even for example, like the rogue, it borrows a lot from World of Warcraft. You kind of get to the point where rogues can like incapacitate mobs, they can stun mobs, they can do a bunch of stuff. That wasn't in EverQuest. A rogue was like 3 buttons, for a long time. But
Right.
yeah, so and okay, so when did Monsters and Memories first really kind of, when did it get on your radar, I suppose? When did you first discover it, and kind of how did you kind of get into it? What was that
So
like for you?
this was like way back. I mean, I don't know if this was 4 years ago or 3 years ago, but the um the original time I heard about Monsters and Memories, I've been following Pantheon Rise of the Fallen since 2014. I remember the day that the Kickstarter launched. I remember the day that Brad McQuaid announced it, and he was in that garage and he had the dudes, and they're like, "This is what we're making." I've been following Pantheon. I remember Ashes of Creation showed up several years or similar at a similar time, and they were like not polar opposites. They're like, what do you call them? Rivals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pantheon here, Ashes of Creation here. Um, then COVID came, and yada yada yada. And then I watched the video, and I'm thinking it was Redbeard Flynn or somebody, because it wasn't like Redbeard Flynn makes a lot of great videos, right? And he's
Yeah.
covered Monsters and Memories for a very long time. But this specific video I watched was when they were still using the capsules. But something about the logo that popped up on the screen, and then the narrator who was explaining about Monsters and Memories, I was like, huh, you're trying to make a game like EQ? I mean, like actually like EQ, like you're even trying to make it like not look modern in the sense of like low poly art style. Uh, okay, this sounds interesting. I mean, you guys still have the models that are literally just they didn't have actual models or textures at the time as far as the characters. It was literally just the little blobs, the template Unity NPCs. So it was pretty early. I'd like to say 2002, 2003, but it sparked an interest where one thing led to another, and I found ALovingRobot, aka Sean, who's one of the lead devs along with Nick and everyone else. I started watching his EQ interviews, so like former dev interviewing another dev. That's when it dawned on me that the person that's making this is actually or was involved with the original EverQuest, and this is after but Brad McQuaid's passing. So I got interested in that, and then it was just one thing after another. I would jump in and out of watching their videos, and then Pantheon, and then back to their videos, and then after I think the very first playtest I did was about 2 years ago. I think it was literally like when I started this channel. So my first experience was with Monsters and Memories is actually when I recorded it for the first time. So that was like 2 years ago when I actually did a playtest. So I've been following them for like 3 to 4 years, and then I've been doing the playtest for about 2 years. And since then, I've connected on their Discord. I've connected with each individual dev, not on a personal level. Like I don't have like an ear to the devs. Like I'm very standoffish. I don't share my opinions that often. I don't give them ideas. I'm not like make my classes like this, or I've been following you guys for 4 years and you guys are going on the wrong track. If you don't add this feature to Monsters and
Yeah.
Memories, I'm not gonna like
Oh
nothing like
man.
that.
Yeah.
I stay out of their way. I'm a cheerleader, dude. I literally go
I
on their
love that.
videos.
Yes,
I
dude. Me too.
I'm like keep going. Like I make memes about them. I make videos about them. I'm celebrating them. I want to stay out of their way. I don't want to be involved in favoritism, nothing
Yeah.
like that.
No, dude, I love
Because
it.
yeah, because I mean, it kind of what happened with Pantheon. Like some people got too close to the devs. Not, and here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a balance. They got too close. It wasn't even that they got too close to the devs. It's just that when people see favoritism, like with Pantheon, I think there was like some drama where one of the GMs spawned an item or respawned
I heard
mob,
about that.
and
Yeah.
the Discord blew up. I was like, oh my gosh, man, calm down. It's a video game.
And not
What
only
are we
that, but it's
fighting
like
about?
early testing or whatever that's going to be
It was
wiped, you know.
it was an alpha. It was gonna be wiped anyways. Why are you crying over literal pixels, my guy? It's like and this goes back to gamification, man. Like, yes, I get immersion, I get this, but man, you, you gotta remember what we're doing here, man. We're playing video games. We're 20, 30, 40 and above. Play your video games, but if you get emotionally like and here and it's like okay, that's negative, right? But on a positive note, look how close Pantheon was to the community, look how much work was getting done, and then they had to shut it all down. They're like, we are back. They even made an official statement. They're like, we are backing up a little bit. We realized that we're a little bit too close to the development team is a little too close to the player. We need to create like almost like a corporate gap. What I like about Monsters and Memories is they don't have that. They'll talk to anyone. They'll have their daily streams. They'll have conversations and discussions in the Discord. I hope that never changes. I really hope that it
Yeah.
continues being a passion project, even when they become successful. Just be that regular dude. Like I said, when I look at Sean, it reminds me of my older brother. It reminds me when we used to skateboard and listen to 311. It reminds me when, life was simpler. And even when they're massively successful, I hope they continue listening to the community, but also hold their ground as far as we are not just going to bow the knee to favoritism or just because the community says something. If it's an overwhelmingly large group of people telling us something, we'll listen, we'll make the change. But if it's just one or two people that are very loud on the internet or on Reddit, we're not going to change the game just because of your complaints, right? And that's what I really like about Monsters and Memories, as far as the dev team, man. So they've been really good. And And to anyone that has never heard of Monsters Memories, I challenge you, go on one of their streams, say hi to Nick, say hi to Sean. They will talk to you. They'll answer questions. They're the coolest, like the coolest devs I've ever met, man.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, can I just say, I love how you put it, and I feel the same way. It's like, I don't want my personal idea or fantasy in the game. It's like, you're making the game, just cook. I'm a cheerleader as well. There's a lot of people that just want to kind of insert themselves in there and be like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, and just try to hijack the dream. Yeah, let them
Hey,
cook.
let them cook. And here's the thing: I don't want to spoil the game for myself. Like
Yeah,
full disclosure, I've been in the pre-alpha. Like I was lucky enough to be added to the alpha testing for Monsters and Memories. I can literally log in right now. I can just go play the game right now. Many people would be like, "That's a dream come true." I don't want to play. I don't want to play. I want to test. I want to break stuff. I don't want to play. I want to play when we're all in there together, when there's an evil playing field. Like, again, I'm not there to
same.
play video game. I'm there to like go into this living, breathing world with fellow pixels running around, asking questions, getting into fights,
Yeah,
training mobs to the zone line while that dude is sitting there AFK, working up on my trade skill,
yeah,
taking the boat from Kelethin to Freeport or Phalendral to uh, Night Harbor. Like, I'm waiting for that, man. And look, I'm gonna play early access when it comes in June, and I think in March beta comes out, which is like literally in 3-4 days.
mm-hmm.
But
Yep,
even when early access comes out, I don't plan on getting like fully invested. Like, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna be there. You're gonna see me streaming, but I'm waiting for 1.0 launch because remember how I said it's really hard to make an MMORPG, and one of the reasons is because you're literally creating a world with different continents, different regions, environments, different races, different religions, conflicts. That's what makes the MMO special to me. When I walk into the wrong city at the wrong time and the guards attack me, why? Because they don't like me. They don't like the way I look, or they don't like who I believe in. That's that's fantasy right there. I love it.
yeah. Yeah, I know. I love it. That's very beautiful. No, I'm with you. I hope we end up on the same server so we
I'm
can kind of
excited, man.
link up together
Hey,
occasionally
man.
here and there.
As long as it's PVE, no boxing, I'll be there.
Okay,
And
cool.
then we'll do a PvP one just for fun. But it's gonna be PVE, so I'll definitely make sure we're on the same server.
Yeah, yeah. Same for me. Yeah.
I'm a
Um.
follower, dude. I'm not, I don't like you said. I don't have a static group. I don't have all this stuff. It's for me. I'm just there. I'm a huge solo player. Not intentionally, but like I log in. I sometimes don't know what I'm gonna do, and I kind of just go with the flow of things, and then I
Yeah.
end up in a group, or I end up here. I end up soloing. And it goes back to like what people talk about. People are too busy to do stuff, right? Like I said, if something is good enough, people are going to make time for it. But the other side of the coin is if I do only have 15 minutes, if I do only have 30 minutes, is your definition of respecting my time saying, well, you've got 15 minutes to complete a daily, or we've designed this dungeon so that you can get it complete in 15 minutes because we respect your time? No. Again, gamification. For me, the idea of respecting my time is when I can log in for 15 minutes because mentally I know that the boat ride is 15 minutes. So I can hop on that boat. I can go make myself a cup of coffee. By the time I'm back, I'm already at the zone line I need to be at, and I can log off. When I log back in, when I do have 30 minutes to play, I can go get the trade skill I was working on and finish that. And then when I finally have time to log in on the weekend, then I can go fully equipped, already in the right zone, and group up, right? But I had fun on the boat ride. I had fun doing the 30-minute trade skills. My time was respected because the world had something for me to do. I'm busy in my personal life all the time, but I have 15 minutes to run to UPS to drop off the third Amazon package that my wife ordered that needed to be returned. It's just like, oh my gosh. But there's 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
on that ride, I played some music. I rolled the window down. I enjoyed the atmosphere, and it was 15 minutes of fun. You know, in the same token, Monsters and Memories, I feel like it respects your time where even that 15 minutes can be meaningful. Meanwhile, the modern game says 15 minutes meaningful, respect time. Here's a dungeon that's 15 minutes and just click here and you'll join a group automatically. Like, that's not fun to me. That's not
Yeah.
what I want. At that point, I'd rather not play a game. I
Yeah.
might as well go touch grass or something.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and I love that. I love how like the preparation and the travel to the dungeon itself was part of the
Part of the journey.
gameplay, the journey, the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just as fun. It's just as exciting and dangerous. Like, wow, I made it
It's
over here. Finally, I made it from across the world. You know?
it's the journey, not the destination. And yes, it's part of it is the destination too. But it's like I always say, like, you know, there's so many games out there that are like the game doesn't start until end game. So you're saying 0 to 50 is just filler? Yeah. Just grind through it. Like, what's the point? Just give me a level 50, level 60 right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? They started doing that. Now it's like, oh, just skip all this, pay this amount of money, and be level 60, right? What made EQ different is that level 1 to 5 was an experience. Level 5 to 10 was an experience, and there was these pinnacle moments. Like level 4, you get meditate. Level 8, you get stun. Level 15, you get SOW. I'm making all this up, by the way. Level 20,
Mm-hmm.
you get your first self port. Level 25, you get your first group port, right? Every single dungeon, every single camp, every single experience, whether it's you're turning in Crushbone belts to gain XP, and then you realize you can make money off of that. So instead of leveling, you go and kill the green and blue orcs just to get the belts. So now you're not even leveling, and you're not going to use it for a quest. You're literally just collecting so you can sell, and you're selling it so you can get plat, and you're getting that plat so you can upgrade your armor. So the next journey is to go across the ocean to East Common Lands and look for a deal. And you're not just going to buy the first thing you see. You're good to haggle. And as a kid, I remember I was a very good haggler. I was like, I would take off all my gear and be like, as you can see, sir, please, sir, I may have some more. This is all I have.
Oh
And
man,
then like,
that's
screw it, just
brilliant.
take it for free. And that goes back to like the whole community aspect, the social aspect. So it's like, see, that level 1 to 50 experience is an experience, and that's what makes being level 50 later on worth it, because you've had the journey, you've had the experiences, you've had the relationships built over time, you acquired your gear over time. It's like you remember that thing you got for free, you remember that thing that cost 14 how much does the luminescent staff, it's the one that has the AoE attack, it's my favorite staff for the druid.
Staff of
How
Nature or something like that, right? I can't.
it's
It's something like
it,
that.
it's the luminescent something. I'm not gonna look it up right now, but anyways, I remember
Yeah.
I ported like maybe 200 people or more over the course of the Lumi staff,
I think it's
luminescent
literally
staff.
called the Luminescent Staff.
It's called the luminescent staff. Yes, it's 33 delay, 13 damage, plus 7 wisdom, plus 35 health, plus 35 mana,
Yeah.
and a lightning strike is the effect, and
Okay.
that
Yeah.
only works at level 46.
Man, that's awesome.
And
Wow, going for 2 to 3 G's on P99. Nice.
2 to 3, I thought it was like yeah, okay.
Sorry.
So think about saving up 5,000 platinum. Now, there's many ways of doing that, but the way I did it, the way Dracos, the Wood Elf Druid did it on P99 green, is I was working for Dial-A-Port and I was porting people around.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine saving 5,000, 3,000? I was like, I think I paid 3,500. 3,500 plat just porting people back and forth. I did it for days, weeks, and I did some retail arbitrage too, like, but very, very little. Most of it was just straight up ports. So what did this game just allow me to do? It let me become a literal taxi in game because of the class interdependency. They need to get to destination B. I'm in destination A. I can take them there. I can give them some buffs while I'm at it. I had a business, like straight up. It was like Dracos, yada, 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 porting to X, Y, and Z. People would respond. I'm like, welcome. I am at this location. Um, please let me know if you need any of these buffs. I had a macro set up, and they would be like, yes, no, yes. I'd be like, all right, buff, buff, buff. I noticed that they're a dark elf. I'm like, let me invis you. So I would invisible them so that the other, wherever I pour them, the dwarves don't kill them on the spot.
Hmm.
Right. So it's like I had a whole business set up, and I even had a mantra where I wouldn't ask for money. Like I wouldn't be like, just remember, tips are appreciated, or just remember, like I wouldn't even ask for money, and people would pay me even more money. So now there's a psychological aspect to the way I run my business that actually made me more money in the process because of my like kindness or whatever you want to call it, right? How you how do you do that in any other game? What modern MMO can you do that and like literally create your own organic business, your own freaking way? That's what I'm talking about. Open source. There should be a new genre, open source MMORPG. Now that would be terrible, but you know what I mean.
Man, yeah,
It's
that's great.
it's crazy, dude. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, that's beautiful. I love that.
Talk
It's
monsters and memories, right? It's in the name. Or slaying monsters and making memories. The name
yeah.
is very fitting, but
It's like you said though too. You touched on this. You saw it. You saw the font. You saw the name of it. You saw what they were trying to do. There was something that kind of captivated me with the art. I think even EverQuest. Like I saw the box art. Keith Parkinson. Like the art is incredible. It just kind of evokes this sense of like wonder and adventure and exploration. The same thing with Monsters and Memories. That Goblin Works, the artist, his
Goblin
concept
was
art is
amazing.
incredible. And yeah, just like the font of like Monsters and Memories, that orange and kind of yellow, it's kind of like, I don't know, almost like a sunset. It's just it's perfect,
It's incredible. And actually, you're absolutely right. The feeling's mutual because I remember seeing the what do you call it? The concept art,
Hmm.
and that's something that drew me to EQ was the concept art, the book art. Keith Parkinson is a freaking legend. Everything he touched was gold. And one thing I noticed about Eminem is like this concept art really speaks to me. Like it's not generic, it's not AI generated. Like this is good concept art. And this is before I knew who Goblin was, which is the artist. This is before I knew Zukin. This is before I knew uh, this guy and this guy on the Eminem team. I looked at this and I was like, this is really cool. And they had the artsy concept art, which is like showing like a scene, right? And then there was the more dev concept art where they would have like the different races lined up, right? Just to kind of give you an idea of what they're creating. Here's what I really like about concept art is when the concept art translates directly to the in-game textures, and that's the most shocking thing. Is like they draw out the city on paper, and then they just create it in game. I've actually seen Sean explained this. It's like, well, here's how we do it. We first we take the map, so we'll design the zone by just drawing it, and then
Hmm.
we'll take the picture and we'll just plop it into Unity and we'll just trace over the map. So it's exactly how the concept art is. I'm like, that's freaking awesome.
Dude,
That's
that's
art,
amazing.
dude. It's freaking awesome. I love
That's
it.
amazing. And can I just
Yeah, the
say,
concept
like,
art is crazy.
I don't know anything about game design, so like take this with a grain of salt. But in just from my humble opinion, when I look at Unity games, there's something about Unity that seems very generic to me. Like just a lot of
Yeah.
games that use like Unity assets are generic, but the team, they did it in such a way, like the handcrafted nature of it all, just hand painting all the textures and stuff. It's amazing how unique they made it look, even though it's Unity. It blows me away, like from a technical perspective, for sure.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. It's now we have the same issue with Unreal games, right? Now we have Unreal games which are very high fidelity and everything, but everything looks like a clone. Like especially
Yeah.
Eastern MMOs, you know, they can create an MMO like overnight. Sometimes what it seems like, you know, they just put the
Mm.
funding into it, make the MMO where winds meet, or you know, Throne and Liberty, or what else, whatever, best graphics ever. But even that is starting to look generic. It's like the same issue with Unreal Engine. Unity, you're absolutely right. The Unity engine is just like, I remember watching Pantheon early on. It was the same thing. I was like, I hope they work on this, you know. And I'm rooting for Pantheon. I'm rooting for it because I want it to be good, and I think it's amazing in its own way. I played it; it's really good. But you're absolutely right. When you're in Monsters and Memories, it feels like it's a painted, what do you call it? Like a not a palette, a canvas. It feels like a
Yeah.
canvas, and it feels like it's painted over. And yeah, it's low poly, but it's you can sense that it's done intentionally. And I was inside the Night Harbor Inn, and I was sitting there, and that lady was playing on the guitar. What was
Yeah.
her name?
My girl Serafina. Yep.
My yeah, Serafina. She was there sitting there, and I'm just sitting there in my chair, right by the pub, and I start looking at the wall, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna replace this texture. And then I look at it, and I was like, hold up, he painted that. So he was in Photoshop or whatever, and Zukin or whoever else was literally. You can see the brush strokes, and it looked really good. I'm like, and I looked closely. I'm like, that looks like a light reflection. So, and that looks three dimensional. So that they literally have this painted art style that when you look closely at it, it looks really good.
Wow.
And we are
Wow.
so early on in this stage of development. Can you imagine when they even get $1 of funding? They have $0 of funding right now. They've
Yeah.
been doing this all on their own for free, just so that they can get a proof of concept, just to see if they can, if the game is fun. The game is already fun. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
done. You know what I mean? Without the graphics, without the levels, without the zones, without the world, without all the skills, the game is already fun. Now you just need to build on that. Can you imagine 3 4 years from now,
Man. Yeah.
if they hire some more people, they don't have to be permanent employees, because that's how some MMOs fail. They hire a team of like 100 people, and then they have to fire 50% of them. It's like, no, you can have contract workers. It's like, hey, I need you to make these 100 textures, right? They're going to be used for shades of grass, for walls, for cups, for this, so we can fill out the zone. Maybe put like some clothing in here, yada yada yada. And can you imagine what's left to accomplish with the low poly art style? They're just doing so great, man. I'm so proud of these dudes, man.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about them, man.
Yeah.
Glaze.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. That's, yeah. Well,
I can get very nerdy when it comes to this. My bad.
no. This is beautiful. And, it's going to, caused me to pay a little bit more attention to, like, but yeah, some of the textures are definitely incredible, and it's gotten better. That's what I tell people too. So I played the play tests, and every single time there's something better and better and better and more improved and more improved. And even if it ships right now today, like I'd be very happy to give them that sub for sure.
100%.
What stands out?
And you don't, and by the way, you don't know this right now, but I'm listening to Monsters and Memories music this whole conversation.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Wow.
it's just relaxing. I mean, so I've listened to it in my car. I've listened to it at work. Like, we talked about the physical graphics, but I mean, Robert Engstrand,
Oh my
right?
God. Yes.
He's a legend. He's a legend. So it's
He's a
like, it's
G.
almost like all the stars are aligning. You got this Sean guy who used to work for Sony Online Interactive back in the glory days of EQ, and he was involved with some of the most controversial expansions like Planes of Power and some of Looseland, etc. But he remembers what made it great, and he saw Brad in the hallway sometimes. You've got Nick, which I know less about his backstory, but is very similarly, he's a huge, like, he's the pinnacle of the project. He has Zukin, you have Goblin, you have so many of these people, but then you have Robert. Which, keep in mind, EQ was great because not just because of the gameplay and all the other stuff, but it had good music, right? You can hear every time I start my channel, the first thing I play is the Kelethin music, because it has a emotion to it, a feeling. Or you log into EQ and you hear the main soundtrack music, right? What's very interesting, and so that EQ music, it sticks with you, right? That was my point. the Monsters and Memories soundtrack does the same thing. It's like you hear the logo music in your head. Like he has a gift of me. I just don't know how to put it into words. He has such a musical gift, and he's able to bring life into a virtual world using his music. And I can't put it into words. I used to work on music when I was younger. I used to do production work, sound engineering. I used to do hip hop. I used to make beats, and so I have a really big appreciation for music engineering and design. And I gotta say, Robert is a legend. That's why you can listen to his music even when you're not in game, and you can just be like, I'm just listening to like in classical, folky, fantasy, ambient music playlist, right? Something you'd find in Lord of the Rings, right, or whatever else. So he's a legend, man. Robert, you're amazing, incredible person, and he's a nice
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Shout out to Robert for sure.
You're the man.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I was gonna say, what stands out to you the most about Monsters of Memory so far? For me, it is actually the music. It's very close between the ambience of the game, like the lighting. I love it when the sun comes up and sets. Like that's very beautiful, especially in the desert. But I love the light in the game. I love the morning light. But man, the music really is incredible. It really is. Like
It really
Robert
is.
nailed it. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he got like the vibe of all that stuff. But yeah, he's great.
So, like for me, what stands out the most is that I get bored of video games very quickly, and sometimes I straight up don't want to play them because I'm like, why am I doing this? Right? I have the nicest computer, all this gear. I've this mic and this because it's part of my hobby. I like being a creator, yada yada. What hits me different about Eminem is not so much the graphics, not so much the music, not so much anything specific like that, but when I don't really feel like it, and I log into that game, that feeling of I don't feel like playing goes away. Something about that world makes me feel like I want to be there. And I can't give you a definition. I can't say, sure, I can say it's a combination of things. But out of all the other projects that I played, for some reason, once I get in there and once I start moving around, I don't want to leave. And I want to just keep going and going and going and going. And that's a very similar experience to what happens when I go back to EverQuest. I could be like, I haven't played in a year. I'm like, do I really want to do this? I mean, freaking 25-year-old game, graphics suck. Like, I got to reinstall the client. Like, ugh, all right, I'll force myself to log in. And then I log in, and I'm like, now I just don't want to leave. That's what separates Eminem for me, is that once you're in there, you just don't want to leave.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it seems like we already kind of answered this, but does Monsters and Memories need to do? What does it need to do to become a forever game for you? Because I'm kind
Just
of
go ahead. I want to hear
Yeah, yeah.
your
No, I
opinion
was just
on
gonna
it.
say I'm kind of like you. You mentioned that you might reach a point where EverQuest is what you play for nostalgia, even though that's not what you're playing it for now. But it's Monsters and Memories will be good enough to kind of replace EQ, and I feel the same way. So anyway, please continue.
I just, it's a big ask, and I know it's not going to happen by early access. It might not even happen by, EA, by 1.0 launch. I just want the world to be filled with diversity, different races, different cultures, different environments, different loot. Um, it's not like, I guess you can call that content, but I want to feel like when I travel from Night Harbor to the furthest northernest point of the continent, I want it to feel like otherworldly, like I'm in a completely different area. Just like if you would go from Florida to New York, just like if you would go from New York to New Mexico, just like if you would go from New Mexico to Washington State. It's so and while you're going to those places, you go from the Appalachian Mountains and or you go through wine country, or you go through like places where it's like, I don't know, trailer parks, and then you go see mansions, and then you see this. So just like the same way you would travel through the United States, as an example, and you see all this diversity, you see all this massive cities, extreme wealth, extreme poverty, conflict, goodness, like there's stores on the way down, like the highways. Now, hyper superimpose that onto M&M. When I'm traveling, I want to be able to stop at an inn. I want to be able to sell some of my loot. I might find a nice grind spot nearby. I just want the game to be designed intentionally. I don't want it to just be a game. I want it to be where there's different cultures, there's different identities to the world, because to me that's what makes EQ so special, is that it literally feels like a living, breathing world. That's what's going to keep me coming back, because you can always add content, you can always add levels, you can add spells, you can add skills. Focus on making it feel like a living, breathing world, and adding the right things for that to happen, and you'll be fine. That's what's going to keep me coming back for 25 more years.
Beautiful.
And I know that's such a like open-ended, crazy thing to say. It's just, I mean, it already feels that way. When I look over the horizon, when I'm standing at Night Harbor and I look over the horizon, and I want them to never change this, by the way. Keep the view distance as far as it can be. I want the only limitation to the viewing distance should be fog or weather. If it wasn't for the fog or the weather, I should be able to see as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
If your computer can't handle it, get a better computer. Like, or just turn down the settings. Just don't take it away for the sake of optimization. It is part of the identity of M&M, is being able to see that point of interest all the way across the water, because it makes you think and wonder. It's almost like growing up, like, you know, you'll watch like a fantasy show, and it's got the cliche boy that's grows up in the slums, but he sees the tower and he's like, one day I'll be a knight.
Yeah.
One day I will avenge my mother. You know, it's like it makes you have that same experience in game. It's like, one day I'm gonna make it to the tower. One day I'm gonna get my revenge for the time I explored there, and I never got my corpse back just because I was so low level, whatever it might be. That view distance makes such a huge difference to that world. But that view distance would be nothing if it wasn't for what M&M is already doing. What they're doing is creating meaningful points of interest that make you want to go there, because there's culture, there's diversity, there's conflict, there's wonder, there's fantasy, there's all that stuff, dude. Again, think of it like a book, like a novel, right? When you unfold the map for the continent of Monsters and Memories, you should be able to point at this, and you should be able to hear a story coming in your head about the elves, right? Or the dwarves, or the night elves, or the humans. Like, when I think about the humans of Night Harbor, I think about traders. I think about people that are very, strong-willed, because they have to survive these sandstorms, and under all odds, they created this massive city. Now, there might be another human city further north, similar to Hallis, right, in EQ. And there, I think about they had to survive in the cold, and they had, they grew really big, probably because they were wrestling polar bears since they were babies, right? Again, do you see how, like, I just started coming up with that random stuff, random lore? It's because the location itself speaks to you. And when you create a world with so much diversity that it speaks to you, that's what makes you keep coming back for more, in my opinion. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
that's so funny. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at myself, because if I'm thinking of myself as somebody else listening, I'm just like, what are you on, dude?
No, man, I love it.
I talk about touching grass and like, oh, it's just a video game, and then hearing me talk about it, it's like you would think I'm talking about like world peace or something.
No, it's great. Do you what's the most promising thing about Monsters and Memories right now?
The dev team.
In your eyes, the dev team. Okay, easy answer.
They're without them, it wouldn't be anything. I've already said amazing things about them, and without them, I wouldn't be following this project if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, too, just going back to your point about Sean, I just thought about this too. He's an experienced developer. He's already been kind of at at the sort of the top with EverQuest. He's gone on to do other projects, whatever. He's been in the industry. He's not like someone that's aspiring to be a dev or like whatever. He's already kind of been there, done that, and it's like you said, it's a game that they want to play, that's made with passion, and they're really good at filtering feedback, which is what I
And
really enjoy too.
it's funny I've heard Sean talk, and he actually agrees with me on a bunch of stuff, because like he'll be like, sometimes I just want to log in, and I just want to go to the docks, and I just want to sit there and listen to some music and fish. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. That's my guy. He's like, I don't feel like grouping. I don't feel like raiding. I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to be able to go into a game where I can, you know what, today I'm just going to go fishing,
Yeah,
and actually be fun and just chat with people.
yeah. It's nice that you can have that. It's like, and it does feel that way. Like when you're in the city, everyone's kind of hanging out at the gate or hanging out at the bank, whatever. Yeah, you have that sense for sure.
Yeah.
You don't feel like, all right, guys, we got to go and queue up to the dungeon. We got to go here. We got to grind. You don't have to. You can play it your own way at your own pace.
And that goes back to respecting time, because when you let people do it at their own pace and you do it their own way, that's you don't have to feel bad for falling behind in levels, or not getting a specific kind of gear, because the game respects your time, where you can, it doesn't matter what kind of progress, any progress is good progress, as long as it was good progress to you. You're not competing with anyone, you're not disappointing anyone. It's just, this is your adventure, your world. Now you might have friends that set expectations on you, but that's, all friends do that, right? So I mean, if I could keep coming up, if I got to meet my friend at the gym and I show up late every day, sooner or later he's going to apply some pressure and be like, you need to catch up, you need to be here on time, you know.
Yeah.
Or if I'm spotting him when he's lifting weights and I drop the weights and crush him, he's going to be like, all right, that's it, you need some protein shakes and some push-ups, you almost killed me that one time, right? Catch up. You almost turned me into ketchup.
Yeah.
Dad jokes, here they come.
No, it's great. I gotta get back out there. I gotta get on the right track and touch some grass myself. I've been in too deep, and it's not even out yet. But
Me too.
no,
Me
it's
too.
great. You look great. So what is the do you have a big concern about Monsters and Memories? Is there anything that's concerning to you, if
I just don't
anything?
want them to. Yeah, I just, it's not a concern. I just don't want them to. I don't want them to bend the knee. Just, and at this, I'm so glad. Sean recently sent this with Nick. It's like when they still have the original document they wrote out, and it's reminiscent of Brad McQuaid, because Brad McQuaid also had the original document he wrote out. Like, this is our vision. This is our statement. This is what we're trying to do, and we're not deviating from this no matter what. Um, my biggest concern is, do not deviate from that. If
Yeah.
something is good enough, the right people are going to find it. This idea of like, if they don't do this, if they don't get rid of the death penalty, this game's going to die. If they don't speed up the leveling process, this game's going to die,
Yeah.
et cetera, fill in the blank, it's going to die if you don't do this. What's really going to kill the game is if they start making it after every opinion and every thought and everything that blows through the wind. Um, Sticking to their guns is what I hope they do, and that's the only worry I ever have about Eminem, is if they stop sticking to their guns, if they walk away from the vision, and if they stop being so active with the community. I think that's one of the things that makes them very special, is they're very close with the community. I know at a certain point of time when you get massively successful, it's kind of hard to like be that personal, but just never stop being you. Sounds corny. It's like, just don't stop being you. Continue
It's
making the project you want to make, and that, I think you'll be fine. Some of the best music I ever made is when I made the music for myself. Some of the best video content I've ever made has been when I made the video content for myself. The second I felt the pressure of another person looking at me, I would miss my lyrics. I would get nervous. I would get shy. Make what you feel is beautiful to yourself, and the right audience will find it and appreciate it with you. Because if it's beautiful to you, it's beautiful to somebody else too. Don't ever stop being that way. I think Monsters and Memories is in great shape.
Wow. Yeah, that nailed it. I guess this is kind of a similar question, but what's one thing you hope the devs never change because it feels core to the magic?
Um, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, there's so many things that they do right, and there's going to be things I disagree with. There's going to be things that I think they should do it this way. They should do it that way. Like you heard me say earlier, like let us cheese the game a little bit, right? Don't just we don't want to give players the levitation spell because if they do, you know, yes, it goes down slowly, but if they get at this right angle, then they might get on top of this, and then if they do that, then this happens. Like, just don't overthink it, man. Just give us the tools. Yes, some of us are gonna cheese it. Some of us are gonna, borderline, um, you know, whatever. We're gonna do creative
Exploit it.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might not even be an exploit, but it's like borderline exploit. It's like, dude, there's a reason you're the only one doing that. Like Arcade, for example. I found out I remember very little about Arcade, but I remember this. I was farming trees, and what I figured out is that if I and this is not even an exploit, I get the most expensive seeds and I plant them, and then I harvest the tree. And when I chop it down, I take back money and I make a lot of money. But because it's like an open world, like with PvP and PvE, somebody else can chop down these trees I planted too, unless it was on my own farmland. But the trick that I did is I would plant it in the open world.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I climbed up the mountain and I kind of jumped and clipped. Like, for example, there's like an invisible wall, but I found that if I just keep jumping, I can slide and then, okay, I made it to the other side of this cliff. And then I found a gap around the corner where it was like a perfect place to plant some trees. And I would plant the trees there and then I would come back the next day and farm. Why? Because I forced my way up that mountain, man. I made myself get over there and I found a little sliver of the game that nobody else knew about. And it was mine. You know what I mean? Because I cheesed the system a little bit. And it wasn't even cheesing. It was just like normally when you'd run up to the wall, you're like, well, there's nothing here. And it's like an invisible wall. But if you jumped right at the right corner, you can get over that invisible wall. And by the way, somebody ended up finding my spot. So it's like I wasn't impervious to somebody finding me out. And yeah, after that, I had to find a new spot. But I kind of knew that it was over at that point because they were on to me. But yeah, man, I just I really hope they don't overthink it. I don't over polish, don't over balance. Just Nick's really good at balancing, man. They've got some real talent on there. They're really taking the time. And when I say Nick, I mean Nick and everyone he's working with on the dev team. Um, they're really good at what they do. Just don't be so good at it that it takes out some of the fun, because some of the fun is being level 1 or level 5 and going to a high level zone and looting that random corpse to get the fine steel weapon, which to you that's like $1,000,000. To somebody else it's nothing.
Yeah.
Or you have a high level character that comes back to a low level zone and he's like, here's a freaking sword that it's nothing to me, but it's a miracle to you. Oh, you can't use it because you're not level 40, because the little box when you right click the item, it pops up and it says must be level 40. That pulls you out of the world, man. Like I said, over gamification of games. If somebody wants to twink you, let them twink you. If somebody wants to twink themselves, let them twink themselves. And Eminem's pretty chill about this, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. It was a
Yeah.
very long-winded way of saying, like, focus more on making the world feel alive and less on like super polish and super balance, at least in the beginning. The community will tell you when things are really jacked up. I think that's one thing we're really good at.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Have you have you just speaking of like hidden places and like weird little like exploits, for lack of a better term, have you found like any of the, well, and you don't have to spoil it for people because I haven't even looked into it too deep myself, but there's like that hidden, there's like that hidden zone, like the sewers or the whatever it is there, where there's like a hidden way to get there. Do you know about that at all? Have you looked into that?
I I've so I've heard of it. heard rumors in the shadows
Same.
and in the halls of Night Harbor. I've heard whispers of a secret entrance to the sewers. Me personally, I've never seen it, and I've heard of it, and I'm excited to hear more about these kind of rumors. And by the way, that's a good way of making the world feel alive. Make enough of the world mysterious that way that no amount of wiki, no amount of YouTube videos, no amount of guides is going to uncover everything. And we live in a world which is a little, I mean, this is where you can have the argument that it was a different world in 1999 and we didn't have access to all this. But even then, people were writing guides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole here, but it continue filling the world in like that. Because to answer your question, I'm deviating. To answer
No,
your
it's
question,
okay.
I don't know any secrets. Here's my biggest secret. I did find so like when they have these play tests and they jam 1,000 people into one zone, which by the way, that's incredible. World of Warcraft uses shards, so they have one server, but then they have the city. What's the city in World of Warcraft? The main human one.
The human one, Stormwind, right?
Stormwind, right? We
Yeah.
have Stormwind, but then they have shards. So shard 1, shard 2, shard 3, shard 4, right? And because they have to break it up because anything more than 200 players creates lag. Somehow this indie dev team, Niche World Cults or whatever, Monsters and Memories or whatever they call themselves, managed to shove 1,000 people into an indie MMO RPG, one single zone. Not the whole game, one zone.
That's
That's
amazing.
insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really hope that they continue to have fun with that and let the world be as vast as it is, because I noticed that on those days when they have those play tests and you supposedly can't find a place to grind. Okay, if you're in the noob zone and you're right at the front of the gate, yeah, you're gonna see hundreds of people. But what you don't know is that you can actually go all the way over here. And I'll use this example. When you're at the west gate, you go to the north gate. You have the noob area, and then you have the crocodiles. You can do the crocodiles by the west gate, or you can do the crocodiles by the north gate, and then they're all the way up the coast. But the thing a lot of people don't realize is if you swim across the water, there's even more crocs over there.
Oh
So
man. Wow.
I found my little own palm tree, my own little spot. I have a beautiful view of the moon and the city. And it was actually on one of my recent playtests. I'm like, yeah, this is my spot. No, literally no one goes there
I love that. I'm
because
gonna
it's
have to check that out.
no, you cannot. No, I'm just kidding. But you see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and the beauty of it is that when you create something so vast and so large, where a single zone is as large as Night Harbor, you can spread these mobs out to the degree where, you know what? Maybe you can have 500 people in one zone. Because here's the thing. Sure, you can have like a dozen different servers, but if the world is big enough and like it fills my imagination, like I keep saying throughout this video, where there's the elf city, the dark elf city, the old troll city, and this, and there's diversity and this. When the world is massive, do you really think every single zone is going to be filled with 500 people at the same time? No. Even if you have 15,000, 20,000 players, right? So I just hope they continue putting more of these hidden places and these hidden mobs and these different camps, because the thing is, even YouTube content creators won't be able to keep up. So, yeah, that's my answer.
It's beautiful. How do you feel? How do you feel about like the map debate? Like, what about all the hot takes and people that want, a GPS style map, or they want,
No.
yeah, like you said,
No
that.
GPS map. Look. Here's the thing. Like even when I play AQ, I don't use a map. And my Monk Beans, Juster, my real life friend, he'll disagree with me. He'll instantly disagree with me. It's like, no, I want a map. But here's the thing. My boy Monk, he raids. He's really good at it. He's really good at raiding. He's really good at getting in a group and controlling the group and all this stuff. So he uses it strategically. When I go in, I'm not looking at a map. I'm looking at POIs. Every single game that I play that includes a map, that all I'm doing is spending time looking at the map.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm distracted looking at the map, and I'm distracted just going to the destination. I'm not looking around. And yes, to a person that's used to that kind of game play, they're going to instantly say, this is terrible. Why am I being punished? Why can't I see a map? But so far, every single person that I've seen play Eminem, where they're used to a map, but they're not seeing it, they're like, I get it. They play for a little bit and they're like, wait, I get it. I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. Normally, I don't remember all this stuff, but I remember if I run here, I see that tower, and that tells me I got to go left. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I actually get it. Like, it's okay not having a map. It really does make you that much more connected. Now you can also, I would play devil's advocate, and I'll say, yeah, but do we really think that they didn't have maps back then? Like, maps have been around since the caveman era, right? Somebody always had a map. So it would be silly to think that shouldn't be some kind of map. But I think I just don't think that the map should be part of your UI. I just don't think it. I think maps should be acquirable. Maybe it's an item. Like, I'm okay with you finding a scroll or making a scroll or crafting a scroll, and it's an item inside of your thing where you right click it and it gives you a pop up and it gives you a rough idea of the map. But
Yeah.
I think there would be nice to have an economy around that. I think there would be nice to have crafting around it. I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And when it does become a big deal, then you can seek after the map and make it yourself or get it from a crafter. But I'd say for somebody that thinks this is completely stupid, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. Try Eminem
Yeah.
as is, right? Don't look at the wiki. Just feel your way around, and you'll kind of sense it. And look, man, I understand where people are coming from, but again, there's no reason to shrink the world by giving away all the secrets of the world before the game's even released.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Um, I was just looking at my notes here. Do you have anything that you hope they iterate on, even if it's small? I guess we've covered this a lot already, but just keep
Yeah, I'm pretty
pounding.
chill, man. Just keep pounding, keep doing your thing. I'm not really pressed. I'm rooting for them, really. I just want them to do a great job. I want them to be successful, and I want them to reach the definition of what they define as success. You know,
Yeah.
whether that's 10,000 or 100,000 people. It's just I want them to complete a project and be like, I'm proud of myself for doing this. You know, so I don't really have a wish list. Like I said, I mean, I want a living, breathing world. I want everything. I will say though, like, I'm excited to see what they do with lore, and
Yes. Me too. Yes.
I, I I I know this is the case, but I want them to really put a lot of emphasis into the lore. One of the things about EQ is it has incredible lore. They have tabletop games about EQ. They have books about EQ. They have comics about EQ. They have maps about EQ. They have figurines about EQ. There's endless lore, and even for all the negative things I might say about uh, Daybreak, right? They've got like 35 expansions, my guy. Like, I'm actually kind of curious. I'm like, dang man, if it wasn't for the monetization and all the other shady things, I might actually play this, even though it's a
Yeah.
completely different game now, right? But it's still so much content. It's so much lore. It's so much interesting stuff. Like, and people like talk about, I want to make my own MMORPG that's going to be a WoW killer. Well, you better start working on Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 first, because you got about like 20 years of lore or 15 years of lore there that you're going to have to just poof out of nowhere before you make a WoW killer, right? So
Yeah.
I think lore is really important, and I really hope that they put a lot of focus on um, lore, and it ties back into identities, into like it's so easy when you think about it. And I know I've taken so much of your time, and part of it is because I just go on these tangents. But again,
No
lore,
worries.
culture, diversity, all that it ties into each other, right? So at the end of the day, just keep the world conflict and tension going. Maybe the dragons are beefing with the giants, just like in EQ in the Velis era. Maybe the gods are beefing with these tree people. I don't know, and maybe the trolls are beefing with the dwarves, just like in EQ, and there's the story behind that, and everything is kind of interwoven. There doesn't have to be a grand master story, but just those micro conflicts and micro diversities or micro alliances, and it all paints a picture. And then once you have that baseline, then you can start intertwining it, right? So, anyways, lore.
Yeah.
That's my short
No,
way of saying it.
I'm the same way. So it's something I'm hopeful for. I caught a snippet. There was a time Sean was talking about a loving robot. He was talking about how he's a huge fan of Lovecraft. This movie Dagon that they watched back in the day. I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. I think it's kind of like this. He does a really good job of capturing this like fear of the unknown, fear of like things that we don't understand, that kind of thing. It's like a slow creeping dread, and there's a lot of room to iterate on that with the inclusion of the deep and those zones there. So I'm curious to see what they do with the lore as well. That's huge for me too. It's just a normal casual gamer. Just really cool to see the world kind of fleshed out in that way.
And by the way, one of the things that I like about them is so most modern modern memories, most modern MMOs, they build their games like this, like a staircase going up,
Mm-hmm.
expansion, 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 new continent, new world, new this. What I like about what Sean said is we're not building the game like this, we're building it like this,
Yes.
spreading it out. Like
Beautiful.
we already have a big zone. Add some more camps. Add a secret dungeon. Expand what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
Expand maybe an island rose from the ground and it's just a small island, but it turns out that island has a sand pit that when you find the treasure map and go down that sand pit, it goes into a dungeon inside the underworld that you've never reached before. You can expand the game. I forgot the term you used, but like horizontally or laterally or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
vertically. So
And I'm wary of that too. Like, let's say we have this amazing world, but you know what? Let's go and add this new continent over here, and then everybody goes to the continent, and then this
and
continent is now abandoned.
that's what happened with Planes of Power for me. Everyone
Yeah.
no one was in Greater Faydark. I was like, my little elf city is dead.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's another thing. When I was a druid, I used to go from Spire. Like, do you remember you had to buy spells? You actually had to travel. Some
Mm-hmm.
spells you had to get crafted. Some spells you had to get from a mob. Other spells you just had to travel all the way across the world to get, because as a druid, I need my port spell, but I had to get it from like North Karana or whatever, specifically from that vendor,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Planes of Power, you just go to Planes of Knowledge, which is the hub zone, right? It's think of it like as a place where you just queue up. It's a it's like the raid queue zone, right? Kind of how WoW has the raid queue and it's the UI. Well,
Yeah, like a
Plane of Knowledge
lobby
was
kind
it
of
was just a lobby. It's
yeah.
just a lobby. And you can get all your spells, you can get all your crafting stuff, and some people are gonna get super mad at me, and that's okay. But I mean, when you really just like forget about everything else, what do you call it when everyone is in one place and all the other zones are empty unless you decide to go there together? It's a lobby, and you're just queuing up in this one place before you go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, I
I could
agree
see
with you.
that. Yeah.
You just not what I just said. I agree with what you just said about, kind of like the traditional way of making expansions where, oh, you create a new world. Okay, let's all empty this place and go to the next place, right? So
Yeah. No, it's perfect. Do you have? I'm just thinking about this too. I always joke like, okay, so there's gonna be like a lost continent, and then that'll be Kunark. There'll be the lizard race, and
yeah,
then then we're gonna have an ice continent. It'll be like giants and dragons and stuff, and then we're gonna go to the moon. It's gonna be great. I don't know. It'd be so funny if they do that kind of as a troll. They're not. I don't know. It's a totally different game, but
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. If it ain't broke, why fix it? I think one of the things, one of the reasons why a lot of MMOs fail is they're trying to reinvent everything, man. If something works, just do the like what did they say? Imitation is the best form of appreciation, or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
How many like think about how many books, how many things we wouldn't have today if somebody just said, well, I don't want to make my book like the way this guy wrote it, right? We have Chronicles of Narnia, we have Lord of the Rings, we have other fantasy stories. Everyone is taking inspiration from everyone, right? And without imitation or inspiration, you're never going to create the next best thing because you're always trying to make something new. And the thing is, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. You know, you can iterate on a class. Like, I think one of your other questions was like, what would you do with the class system? Like, you know, you have these primary. Do you think there's any room for growth? I think like you keep the traditional
That's my
classes, for
favorite.
example, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you iterate on it, like the rogue. Hey, I'm gonna give him some poisons. I'm gonna give him some mechanics. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then all the classes are unique, but they depend on each other, right? Anyways, if they do that, I'll laugh. I think that would be hilarious if they come out with like their own Kunark. They'll just call it like Truebark, and
Yeah.
then Vilius, they'll be like Tilius.
That would be
They can
hilarious.
probably skip on Lookland, like, and I'm okay with them. Like, they can expand the world that way, but as long as the primary focus is just adding more and more and more and more content to the existing world.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. Um, s- okay. So if you could message, if you could bottle up a message and send it to the devs directly, what would you tell them?
you guys should be very proud of yourselves.
Yeah.
Keep up the great work. You're amazing. Keep doing an incredible job.
Nice.
Everything you're doing, you're on the right track.
Beautiful. How are we doing on time? They got a couple more things here on the
Yeah,
list. We don't have to
I,
go through.
no, I'm good. I'm good. Look, I can be a very exhausting person, so I'm on your time. As soon as you feel like, all right, well, this has been great. Yeah, man,
Um.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm not rushing you out the door.
No worries. Let's get through a couple more of these, and then I want to, if we have time, I'd love to get your thoughts on Pantheon as well, because it does seem like you were playing that for a little bit as well. But so, and yeah, that was my next question was about the classes. Like, yeah, do you think MMO classes are solved at this point? Is there any room to innovate?
Yeah,
Like you said, take the existing things and kind of add some stuff to it. But do you think there's like a
exactly.
new class you could maybe add? Like anything you'd like to see explored?
Sure,
Um,
someone way smarter than me could probably do that. I'm not big into like the thing about ideas is like I like to really put things into thought. I like to really think. Okay, so when you think of something, like let's say you're think of a solution to the problem, like if you're really trying to hone in on solving a problem, you don't just think about I would do it this way because this. You would think about the ramifications of if I do this, then what happens this. It's like if this, then that, and this, then that. So
hmm
like in order for me to really give good advice, I'd have to look at the bigger picture and how it affects everything. Like, what does the implementation of this class do to the synergy of the rest of the interdependence? And how does it play off of each other? You see what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
a very, very, very open question. And when I can't have a detailed discussion about that, I, I might give a vague idea of what I might want, but I can't really go deep into it. So I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. I'm happy with everything we have. I think just innovating on the existing races, classes is would be great. You know,
hmm Yeah.
basically just do exactly what EQ did, and then just sprinkle in your own flair. And by the way, it's not what EQ did; it's what D&D did. It's what Baldur's Gate did. It's what every MUD did. Like this is not an EQ clone. This is literally just a fantasy, massively multiplayer role-playing game. There's a
Yeah.
lot of MMOs. There's not a lot of MMORPGs anymore.
It-
It's the RPG stuff. Work on the RPGs, the MMO stuff about like slash and bash and skill and like think about more of role playing. When you got a rogue and you see him with dual daggers and poison dripping, you got
yeah.
to probably create a trade skill to make that poison, right? So it's like when they're doing these design things, do it more from like almost like an artsy style, like when you fall into the rogue character, can you see yourself actually like crafting these poisons and stuff like that? I think it makes a lot of more interesting when you design a class or off of an actual like visualization or idea or a fantasy or lore. So I don't have any opinions really. I just think they're doing a great job, and sure they can iterate some skills and stuff. But look, at the end of the day, I just want it to be fun. I just want it to be fun.
Yeah, no, I
Make it fun.
I love it. Yeah, that's that's beautiful. Um, I'm gonna gloss over. I did have a lot of questions regarding yeah, like you said you like to just have some fun. You play on your own time. You're a casual player, so yeah, you're not gonna jump in, try to grind to be the first and whatnot. Do you okay, this one's a fun one here. How do you personally balance enjoying the world versus trying to optimize your path?
So I think optimization comes naturally over time. I think at some point in time, some of the mystery fades, right? And you start to get into that kind of like min max mode. I
Mm-hmm.
I think we all min max. I think when you hear min max, you automatically think negative. I do at least. I mean, min max is like everything has to be optimized. Everything has to be perfect. I think the groundwork should be pretty stable. Like maybe the first few times you play, you make mistakes, and then by the second time you uh, look at, okay, when I create a druid, you need to put 5 points into wisdom, 3 points into stamina. Here's the explanation why. That's it. That's as far as optimization coming later on. Like it has to be exactly this play style. This I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I think there's room to grow. Like somebody might say, hey, just so you know, I see you're grinding this mob for like 6 hours, but you know you can pull two of them at the same time if you just like snare the other one, right? Or you use harmony, right? So stuff like that. But over optimization, over min maxing, you know, kind of like the problem with WoW is like you can't even get in some groups unless you have the perfect set of armor. It's just like I don't want to play that kind of game. I don't
Yeah,
want to take the game that seriously. Just want to
yeah,
have fun.
yeah.
But yes, I am gonna be on wikis. I am gonna research stuff. I mean, that's part of the fun too, because the cool thing is that it keeps you when you log off for the night. It's a way for you to stay connected to the world.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
so you can read the wikis, read the forums, whatever, man. Just plan your next move
Yeah,
almost. So
yeah, of course. And you know, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't be checking that stuff out too. Yeah, because I'm curious. You know,
sure.
like, hey, I was at this camp for like 5 hours and this named spawn. I wonder what other things are in his loot table. You know, and actually,
Yeah.
just to touch on your point about maps and stuff, there's already people in the community that are doing like incredible maps already. So I'd much rather have the devs not dedicate their time and resources to put that in game when they could just be building other things, you know. So
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
just some thoughts there.
All
All
right.
right. So yeah, okay. Just a quick fire here. We're kind of coming towards the end of it, but you touched on Pantheon a little bit. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Pantheon there? I think personally, I think it needs more time to cook. If you had to ask me, and I just wanted to, you know, as Brad McQuaid's like final kind of project, his final vision, I just really owed it to him to give that a fair shot. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely be back
I'm
at some point, but I just think right now it needs more time to cook
I'll
personally.
be I'm a big fan of wipes, right? I know some people don't like wipes, but I don't think early access or alpha and all that stuff, I don't think you should get committed to your progress, right? So I'm looking forward to the upcoming wipe. I like the what is it, 12 days of Pantheon that they did where they talked about all their plans. My biggest, I've been following Pantheon since day one. Part of the reason why I started my YouTube channel was because to document AQ. But I also, for the longest time, wanted to document Pantheon because I used to watch a lot of Pantheon videos since 2014. Um, and actually, when I got into Monsters and Memories, that was the other pinnacle moment where I'm like, okay, I gotta create a YouTube channel. Like, I gotta capture these memories. Like, it's too good. And so, as someone that's followed Pantheon since the very beginning, since Brad McQuaid announced it, I've been rooting for it since day one. I've got a lot of good things to say about it, but I think their biggest issue is kind of the identity. You know, like just focus on the identity, focus on making it fun. You know, like I have very simple things like you can't attack an NPC like a guard. Like why not? That's a core memory right there. Accidentally attacking a guard, you know,
Yeah.
and getting one shot. Simple
Yeah.
stuff like that. I feel like they're again over gamification of the game, man. Just don't focus more on their identity. I think they have something really good. Look, I'm okay with the new art style. I understand why they did it. It's hard to make them much art, and I think they can make it look really nice. I think they have a really good team. I think they can turn they can make it really nice. Like I stopped playing Pantheon basically because I'm waiting until Thronefest actually becomes a city I can visit. Because remember how I keep harping over this conversation. The world needs to feel alive. I want to be able to travel from Kelethin to Freeport, from Freeport to Hollis, because
Hmm.
every single city has its own culture and identity and has its own conflicts, and that's what makes the world feel alive. So I can't really get immersed into a game when there's not even like your traditional hub city, right?
Hmm.
Everyone remembers Lord of the Rings when you see the human city and all its majesty, and it's got its gates and, you know, its hierarchy and the common area and then the throne rooms and all that stuff. It's just like it screams medieval fantasy, right? So for me to enjoy a game, I need the cities to be fleshed out. I need the lore to be there. It's got a lot of work, but I think if they just focus on their identity, I think Pantheon will be great. Adrullan Online is another great one.
Hmm.
I think there's a world where Monsters and Memories, Pantheon, and Adrullan Online can all be successful. Um, can each have their own
Absolutely.
identity. Can each have their own fan base. They're not competing against each other. They're all unique in their own different ways, and I wish them success. I think Pantheon can be very successful as long as it's the same message I have for Monsters and Memories. Just focus on your identity. You know, I was upset when they went to early access on Steam because exactly what happened, um, exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. Too many eyeballs, too many reviews, too many opinions, and all of a sudden now they're trying to like fix every bug and answer everyone's question because there's too many people involved in the development, too many hands in the kitchen. They
Yeah.
need to focus on what they think is a good game, not what I think is a good game, not what the community thinks. What do you think is a good game? A game made for everyone is a game for no one, right? So, yeah, I think if what I'm understanding from what the recent announcements, I think they're on the right track. I really hope that they do well, and I do plan on coming back. So, more to come on Pantheon, hopefully.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, that was amazing. That pretty much got it. And then you mentioned Adrullan Online Adventures as well. That's one that I'm
Great.
excited for as well. I love the
Evercraft.
voxel style. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, man. Like Hightail only in an MMORPG. So yeah, that's another great one, right? Every playtest I've done for Adrullan Online, I've had extreme amounts of fun, and I read comments that like, I don't like Monsters and Memories. Adrullan Online is a better game. It's like, or vice versa. It's like I don't think it has to be either or. I think they can both be great. They're just
Yeah.
different. Like Adrullan Online might have some more quality of life that you like. Monsters and Memories can be a little bit more hardcore if you want to call it that. You know.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think they all have their own identity, and I think they're all great games.
Yeah. Beautiful. How about any other like sort of indie projects? I know it seems nice because people. I think people do want this kind of return to the not the good old days, but
The
just like
golden age.
yeah, like if these yeah exactly the golden age. That's what I say. But like let's say World of Warcraft or whatever didn't go the way it did after all this time. What if they developed in a slightly different way? So Project Gorgon, Embers Adrift. Do you have an opinion on
I think
any of these projects as well, or this Scars of Honor? Everybody's talking about Scars of Honor. That's actually a
yeah.
Bulgarian-made MMO.
Bulgarian made MMO.
We'll
Let's
see.
go.
It's Anyway, sorry.
I,
Please continue.
no. you bring up a great point. I mean, and I kind of said this earlier about how there's so many projects out there and opportunities to make good games. I mean, you got people that are learning how to code using Claude AI. Like, there's going to be a time when you can really streamline certain things. Like, I'm not saying you should make games using just AI slop, but AI should be used as a
Yeah.
tool to create efficiencies. I mean, I use AI in a lot of things to create efficiencies. I think the problem is some people use AI to think for themselves. I think AI should augment your skills. Like, you have a set of skills, you have your own personality, you have your own thoughts, and AI can be used as a tool to augment your abilities and make you better, like a cyborg. If we
Absolutely.
want to get Terminatory. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, technology has come so far where modern game development has become more accessible. Like, even my kid, he was developing models for Minecraft and Blockbench. Um, you know, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of good stuff. Project Gorgon is, I think, incredible. I think it's got the kind of like the RuneScape skill grind. But I'm not comparing it to RuneScape. I'm saying, like, RuneScape has a lot of skills, so many skills that, like, you can almost never max all of them out. And I like Project Gorgon because it has that. I think Embers Adrift has this nice Eastern European type of, like, lore, like Baba Yaga or something like that, and it's got its own vibe, and I think it's really cool in its own way for the story. I think the Bulgarian devs making the Scars game, I think they're similar to what I said earlier. It's like, look, we're just taking a formula that already exists, and we just want to make our own version of it. Like, we're not trying to compete with WoW. We're not trying to do this. We're just like, we really like this specific thing from WoW, and we want to do that,
Yeah.
right? PvP, battlegrounds, like, whatever. I wish him well. I don't know enough about the project. I saw Redbeard Flynn. Shout out Redbeard Flynn, amazing dude.
Shout out
And I
Redbeard.
was like, oh, this is cool. I posted on my Discord. I'm like, check it out, guys. Like, something similar to WoW. So I think there's a lot of stuff that could potentially go well. I just, people just got to stick to their guns and make the game that they think is fun. And as long as it keeps its identity, I think they all can be successful. And Project Gorgon is a great example. I mean, it's such a unique niche of a game, and yet it has a following. Now it went from early access. Now it's in 1.0 launch. And that was, a two-person team. Uh, I think if I remember correctly, it's husband-wife team, and unfortunately, only there was a passing that happened. So very sad.
Yeah.
My condolences. But again, when two
No.
people can make a game, right? What kind of world do we live in? We never had this in the 90s or even early 2000s, right? So I don't want to hear that you need a dev team like Amazon with billions of dollars to create a good MMORPG. That's nonsense. I mean, if anything, you're almost guaranteed to fail when you have a budget like that, because there's too many hands in the pot. You're worried about metrics, statistics, demographics. I need to please this person, not offend that person. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, there's some things you're gonna like, some things you're gonna hate. Some content is gonna be offensive to people. Some it's not. You can't please everyone. Just make an intriguing, cool world that is fun to play in, and you'll be successful to someone. You'll be successful to someone. There you go. You might not be successful to everyone, but you'll be successful to someone, just like Project Gorgon was. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a really just launched in 1.0, and if anyone wants to try something different, they should 100% go download the free demo and try it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't got a chance to play it myself, but
It's really cool.
I'll get around to it eventually.
And
Yeah.
and funny thing is, I tried the demo, and the one thing I was like, oh god, I hate the character creator. Well, they just launched into 1.0, and they fixed the one thing that I wanted them to fix, which is the character creator. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Now I can make my character look however. I'm super pressed on character creators. Like, that's the one thing for MMORPGs. And I'm not talking about like super realistic, but give me a character creator where I can look unique. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
huge.
because I mean, it's your whole identity. It's who you're gonna be.
It's who you
It's permanent.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate that when people put effort in their character.
And here's the thing, monetization too. That's why I'm hugely against like gear monetization. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like that because I feel like that's part of the gameplay. Just like the same way you talk about class interdependency, right? Where a cleric needs to rely on a warrior and vice versa. Gear progression, visual gear progression is so important because it's one of the reasons why you want to progress and become better. When you can just go onto the game shop in game store and just buy the nicest gear, then it takes a whole gameplay loop out of the game,
Yeah.
right? So you got to be very careful with monetization. So there's a lot of things, man. And I know like it's really hard to like monetize a game and be successful for $15 a month, and that's the only way of paying your devs. I think devs are used to having a salary anywhere from 80,000 to 150,000, depending on which state you live in, California or Washington D.C. So I'm not going to get into the monetization question, but it is something very important to me personally. That's why I love the indie dev teams, because they have a lower budget and they can be more grounded and more focused and not put in some of this disgusting monetization stuff, you know, and actually make a good game.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I wish all those projects success. So that
I do.
was, yeah. That's great, man. Thank you so much. And then lastly here, just I want to kind of pick your brain about kind of so like your style, I guess, from a content creation standpoint. And I suppose now just from talking to you, it's because you mentioned you had an interest in music, you had an interest in sound, but just can't help but notice like when I first tune in your stream, you have like an incredibly smooth, calm voice, like calm demeanor. Literally the name Class&Cool is perfect. So, how did that kind of develop over time for you? Was
It
that
was just an
always
accident.
your natural style or?
It was an accident, honestly. Like I can be very hyper. I'm a dad. I got 3 kids, so I'm always running around. When I sit down and I have the little time I make for myself, and I can make as much time as I want myself for myself, but it's typically late nights. So that's one of the reasons why I do late night streams, is because I finish all my responsibilities, do the dishes, vacuum the house, put the kids to bed, help my spouse, whatever. And then it's like 10 or 11. I'll log in, and this is like my, what is it, decompression mode.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first comments I ever got, it was hilarious. I think it's still there because I don't really delete stuff. It was like, this is the most boring channel I have ever come across on YouTube. You are boring to listen to.
Oh my
I'm
God.
falling asleep. Listen, I was like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, you're absolutely right. That's how I feel. I'm like, and the funny thing is, it's like I embraced it. I was like, no, I mean that's the way it is. I'm being myself. I'm tired. It's late at night. I'm relaxing. I want to just go on an adventure, on a journey. And it was funny. This is again because I wasn't trying to make something. People started showing up and they're like, hey, dude, this is chill. I like this. I'm just hanging out with you. You're talking to me. I'm talking to you. This is them talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm interacting with people. We're hanging out. Then some people would be like joking, is this ASMR? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not trying to do anything. So the thing is, like, I like production quality. I want the highest quality video. I want the highest quality capture. I just got a 5080 card just so I can squeeze out some more pixels out of EverQuest, like on the stream, so that bit rate could be higher. My audio has to be perfect. My sound effects, and I recently created an intro. These are all things that are scratching my passion for video editing, for sound design. So it's like I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing because this is a hobby I really enjoy, and this is a way of like an artistic release for me. And the community is kind of just organic. It's like people are showing up saying, like the positive stuff, for example, I just really like hanging out with you. And I'm like, I actually agree. Every single person I've met that's come into this thing called my community. It sounds corny saying that because it's not me, it's them. It's the people that come to what join me. Like I don't like saying like they're coming to my channel or they're coming to my community. It's literally just strangers, like-minded people that are running into me on the interwebs, and we're just vibing. And they like what they're seeing, and I'm loving what they're saying, and we're just hanging out. And it's literally just like the boys. It's like, it goes back to me being at my boy's house. I'm playing Ocarina of Time on his Nintendo 64, on his game, in his house, not because I'm being a bully, but because he wants to watch me play, and we're just vibing. So it's just like having the boys back in the basement, and that's how I feel hanging out with these people. So it's this is something I really enjoy doing, and honestly, I would do it more, but these past 2 years have been so the past 2 years coincidentally have been the most difficult 2 years of my life so far. I'm no slouch to like, like Eastern European Slavic people, we joke about like life is the taska, which means like it's like life is suffering, you know. So like we embrace pain and suffering and stuff, and kind of stuff happens. But it got really personal for me, and it was shortly after I started my YouTube journey. And I gotta say, it reminded me of why it's so important to have a community, because some of these people on my Discord or online, hanging out with you, have really, really made it kind of nice, to lean on other people and just hang out. Like, one thing you'll notice about my channels, I don't talk about my personal life. I don't talk about problems in the world. It's like when we're together, we're just hanging out and we're going on an adventure. And something terrible might be happening, but it's just my moment to escape with you. You can come with me on the journey. We can forget about all that other stuff, and we can, it goes back to escapism. We can just go on an adventure. So it's been really cool, man. So I apologize. I mean, obviously, I don't want to get too personal, but it's a blessing, man. Like, the community has been a blessing. The people have been a blessing. Everything that's kind of evolved has been organic and unintentional, but very grateful for how far we've come. So it's
Yeah.
been great.
Sorry, man. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
so
man.
so sorry. It's been tough. But
Nah,
no,
it's
it's
all right, man. And here's the thing. I always say this, like, we all have stuff, and I ever since I was a kid in elementary school, I remember, like, we all have a threshold for pain, and different people have different thresholds. Somebody might lose a pet, which is a serious thing indeed, but it might be the end of the world for them, devastating even. Other people, they're so numb to some stuff. You might be like, "Are you okay, dude?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm cool." Just because they have a different threshold. So I always meet people where they are, and I never think of my issues as greater or worse than the next person. I think we're all existing in this world, in this thing called life. We're all trying to navigate it, right? So I try to be as empathetic as possible and just recognize that, you know what, screw it. We're all going through some stuff, but let's just hang out right now. Let's push all that to the side. I mean, if we got to vent, we will vent and we'll listen to each other. But at the end of the day, if nobody wants to talk about it, let's just go on this adventure in M&M or EQ or Pantheon or whatever it might be. Let's group up. Let's go solo. Let's trade. Let's go slay the dragon. Whatever. Let's live out that childhood fantasy and go have fun. And that's the beauty about these communities. That's the beauty of these games, is that we're literally, life goes on, but we get to go on this adventure and we get to do it together. So it's super awesome, man. And I thank you, Slayheim, because, I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for this community. Maybe in real life we would run into each other if we like lived closer. But the thing is, like, this is such a beautiful way of connecting with people. And one of the reasons why I'm on YouTube and not on Twitch is because I think Twitch is a lot more chance based, and YouTube is like, it connects you with your community specifically. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not advertising to the random person. I mean, I think my community finds its way to the right people that are into this kind of thing. So it's just been great. I have no complaints, and I'm very grateful. So, like,
Yeah.
I think last time I checked, there was like 950 subs. That's already too much. It's too much, because the way I picture it is, imagine putting 950 people into your living room, shoulder to shoulder, back to back. That's a lot of freaking people. So
Yeah.
like for me, 900, 1,000, that's like, all right, that's already like, I
Yeah.
get a little nervous when it's so many people, you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000. That's insanity.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
think I think I'd probably close my channel if I ever got like more than 10,000. I'd be like, all right, it's been nice, guys. I'm shutting it down.
it's
Too many
crazy.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Imagine like 950 people that just come to you, to your house, to listen to what you
to
have to
listen
say.
to what you have to say, to watch you, to come into the basement to watch you play Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like that would be insane. That's like your entire high school times two. That's Let's all go to Class&Cool's basement and watch him play Legend of Zelda. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
It's amazing.
So
It's an
yeah,
awesome basement. Uh
yeah.
but no, no, it's great, and I wanted to say, yeah. So just for different reasons, but I got ASMR vibes as well. I remember tuning into you. You were live at the time. It was after one of my I had played during one of the play tests. So I was just like laying down at night. I was looking for something to do, and you were just streaming, and like it was genuinely relaxing. I do get like those ASMR
Yeah,
triggers or whatever it's called. Like there's stuff that relaxes me. I used to
I'm
not
not gonna.
even know it was a thing, to be honest with you. But then,
Yeah, me neither. I didn't know it was a thing. I'm not gonna lie. I put myself to sleep. So if that's why I don't get offended when people say like, "Oh, ASMR," or like that other guy that was like, "You're the most boring people." I'm like, I agree.
yeah,
I listen to myself sometimes just because I'm testing to see like how the video turned out as far as like quality, because I'm very like strict on it has to be perfect, and I'll just listen and listen, and then I'm just like, I pass out, listen to myself.
it's great. It's very relaxing. It's very
That's
relaxing.
good, man.
So keep it up. It's
Yeah, I want people to be relaxed. I don't want to. I don't want to cause stress, and you know, I just want it needs to be a place where people can come and hang out. So I'm glad
yeah,
that we're. I appreciate the
awesome,
kind words. Thank you.
awesome. Yeah, no worries. And so let's say whether it's this year or next year, let's say someone has like a goal to be a content creator or like, start up a YouTube channel, as you, as someone who's been kind of doing it for a little while now, and I'm sure you've picked up some tips and tricks along the way. Like what's one piece you would give, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who maybe wants to kind of go down this path?
So don't be like me. Don't spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on equipment that you're not going to use. All of the equipment I have, I'm using it for dual purpose, right? I have a Roadcaster Duo. I have a keyboard for music that's completely unrelated. I have a Stream Deck. I have a 4K, a Razer 4K webcam that kind of gives you the DSLR look. All of these things I do
Very
because I
cool.
am obsessed. I'm obsessed with quality because, like I said, I watch my own content. But really, and I'm saying all this to say a lot of people say the most important thing is audio, 100%. So audio. So aside from the cliche stuff of just make sure your audio is good, make sure you're on camera because people want to see you. The biggest thing I've noticed is that people appreciate genuineness, just being yourself, um, because that's one of the phenomenons of this thing that people call streaming, or is being connecting with another person at a distance. It's really all it boils down to is connections, because you can be the headshot champion of the world, but all that's going to get you is like 100K clips, and you're only as good as your next array of headshots, because they're just there to be like, oh, that's crazy. What people really
Hmm.
stay for is the person, the individual. And what I've noticed is that if you really are into this, like, and you want to be successful, you got to be yourself. You got to be entertaining, and you got to be consistent. Be yourself, be entertaining, and be consistent. You know, I think inconsistency is one of the things that kills most channels. You know, but more so than anything, it's just being connected to your audience, your community, and you know, it's okay to make a show. There's a difference between making a show and being fake. You can be yourself, be your genuine self, and still be entertaining and put on a show. And that's what I would suggest people do. And, you know, be bold. So, and here's the thing, be okay with the fact that you're not going to be for everyone. Just like Eminem's not going to be for everyone, Pantheon's not going to be for everyone. Everyone will find their own audience. Focus on the people that are cheering for you, not the people that are not for the people that are being mean to you. And here's this one thing I would say is very important. If you wouldn't tolerate disrespect in the real world, there's no reason you should tolerate disrespect on the internet. If somebody's coming on your place just to be condescending, rude, leaving negative comments, delete their comment and ban them. I don't understand why people tolerate this stuff and just let people that this is your platform, this is your place. Just like you wouldn't let strangers into your home and start cursing you out, you shouldn't let people into your home and just be like, oh, I don't want to offend my community. That's not your community. They have no business being in your chat room. They have no business being in your comment section. Ban them and move on. Now, if it's just somebody giving you constructive feedback, that's not what I'm talking about. You should listen to constructive feedback and you should take it seriously, right? But when somebody doesn't have constructive feedback and they're just calling you names, just get rid of them. You don't need to tolerate that. So, but yeah, and just like Eminem will have a certain following, you will have a certain following. Focus on the people that appreciate you. That's it.
Okay, beautiful. That's good sound advice. Okay, perfect.
Hopefully it sounds good.
No, dude, it sounds amazing. I love you're my like sound inspiration. Yeah,
Oh,
I gotta dial some stuff in still. I'm working on it. It's gonna be great.
No, you're amazing, dude. And I see you got the new Shure S7. That's the mic I wanted. So it's an amazing mic. So yeah, man, keep up the amazing work. I really appreciate everything you make, especially your short form videos, because I originally wanted to make not live streams. I wanted to just make edited videos. The reason I transitioned to live streams is because I created a workflow that was easier for me. I couldn't find hours upon hours upon hours to edit. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they watch Slayheim's videos, an edited video where he's narrating and showing clips. What they don't see is that might have taken 8 hours to edit. 2 days of editing, 8 hours a day, or 8 hours split up over 3 days. Like, it's not easy to edit videos. Like, sure, you get into a rhythm, but it takes creativity. You have to time things. You have to time the clips, and then you have to do a voiceover. So hats off to you, dude, because like what I do is easy in comparison to what you do, you know? So if anybody deserves to be hyper successful, it's you, brother. So I really appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, I appreciate it. No, this is great. Thank you for talking. Thanks for being one of the first guests. Again, I'm sorry for the back and forth. I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you. I'm gonna have to join the Discord. I didn't even know, so I'll have to.
Yeah, no, and the funny thing is, I used to have my Discord link in my comments, and I removed it because even that started becoming too big. Like after I got past like 25 people, I was like, holy moly, like
yeah,
crap. I'm terrified of growth, you know, to a certain degree, because that was never my intention, you know. But it's just a bunch of dudes in Discord, and you know, most of the talking is done by me. I just post stuff, and then there's a couple other guys that, like, you know, talk amongst themselves with Quarm and stuff. So yeah, it's nothing special, but you're always welcome there. Yeah, it's just
thank you,
just a chill place.
Thank you,
brother.
And there's just finally last couple questions. This is just for fun, and it's optional only if you feel like sharing. But dude, thank you so much. That's great, and I feel the same way about you. I'm glad our paths crossed. You know,
absolutely, man.
So If you could, oh, I can't believe I skipped this, but do you have like a perfect group composition, let's say? Do you have like a perfect 6-man group that you would assemble? Or actually, if you had like a duo partner, do you have a good duo kind of a group? Do you have like a fantasy combo? For me, it's Shadow Knight Shaman. I think that's a very perfect combination. You get a lot of stuff done, good survival ability, whatever.
Ah, I
Or
mean,
do
I
you,
guess shaman and like druid or something like that. I mean, um, honestly, I, I want to be play with somebody that's open minded, right? Um, because I think when two people are open minded, you can make any class combo work. Even if, like, imagine two rogues.
yeah,
Wow, that's a terrible combo. But what if you guys, one is in the back, one is in the front, you just take turns
yeah,
backstabbing and you time
exactly.
it perfectly so it switches the aggro.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm
Dude,
just,
funny enough, Kazrax and I did that. We both mained rogues, so we would both try that out. Yeah, it was fun.
I,
That's one of the things I love about Monsters and Memories and EverQuest, or all these games. You're like, hey, what are you? I'm a druid. You're a druid too. Let's go.
screw it, let's go.
We'll figure it out. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? Were you gonna add anything there?
No, I was just gonna. I mean, the only thing I would add is just like my perfect idea of a group is being with somebody that just matches my energy. I guess just like is friendly. Like I I don't know. I just have this thing where I want to be friendly. I
Yeah.
want to, I don't like conflict. I don't like like I said, I've seen enough in this life where I'm a big fan of uh, just peace. I don't like conflict. So if I am grouping with somebody, let's just have fun, man.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me if I mess up the poll. Like, I had somebody come into my comment section the other day. It's like, you're playing the druid incorrectly. You need to sit in med because you are gonna run out of mana. You won't be able to heal, and then your whole group is gonna die. I'm
Jeez.
level 5, dude. I'm level 5.
That's
Chill out.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah, dude. And I'm not even making this up. I'm like, yeah, I didn't delete the comment. It's still there. If somebody wants to see it. It's hilarious to me. But it's like, it's just like, it's at the end of the day,
I
as
love
long
it.
as we all remember we're playing a video game, we're
Yeah.
in good shape.
This is a beautiful idea. I think I am gonna sift through my comment section because I don't delete a lot of stuff either. And I've actually been fortunate. I haven't had to ban a whole lot of people, but yeah, I have some comments
Me too.
floating around. They're like, "Dude, you need to get a grip. This is a horrible game. You need to wake up. This game
I,
sucks."
I actually encourage you to ignore it because the biggest, I think the biggest thing is that some of the negative people, they want to live in your brain rent free.
Yeah,
If you spend more than a minute thinking about somebody's negative comment, they've already won. They've already
yeah,
made it into your psyche, into your brain, trying to live their rent free. I think the biggest thing, if somebody's not being toxic and you just disagree, just look at it and be like, okay, he's entitled to his opinion, and don't even interact. You know, because I don't think those people are trying to interact with you in good faith, right? Even if what they might be saying, it's not wrong. They're just saying, I don't like this video game, but it's how they're saying it. They're already engaging you in bad faith.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I don't need a ban. Like, I don't think I think I've banned like one person from my chat, and it's because they were just being hyper disrespectful. And I think it was not towards me, but towards somebody else. It, it's more of just don't let people can have their opinion. I've got a few people that say this is a bad idea, this and this. If they're just saying I disagree and here's why, I will respond and be like, I see your point. Great point. You're right. You're absolutely right because that's your vantage point and your point of view, and I agree with your point of view. My point of view is different, and here's why. Now we're having a conversation. But when you're engaging in good faith and like, bro, this ain't Reddit. You can take that Reddit mod, Discord mod energy somewhere else because we're just regular human beings. We don't talk like this in real life. This ain't Reddit, bro.
yeah.
Okay. I know some people think they can hide behind a keyboard and do that stuff, but I mean, we're not playing that game here. So don't let these
Beautiful.
people get in your head. But I mean, for entertainment purposes, if it doesn't bug you, then yeah, why not, man? Dissect those comments, make a YouTube video out of it. You know, block their names or don't block their names, and just have fun with it. You know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like conflict. I don't like engaging in conflict. It's I talk about this stuff because this is a firm stance I have. It's like I have a line, right? I'm
Yeah.
already putting myself out on the internet. That's difficult enough just because I'm a very introverted person. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to set some boundaries with people. That's all.
Oh man.
And so far, I haven't had any issues. And I
Yeah.
won't have any issues because I'll crush it before it gets there.
Absolutely. That's
I will
beautiful.
crush it.
That's
Just,
beautiful. I no,
yeah. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, thank you so much.
I'm sorry. I can be such
Do,
a doofus sometimes.
no, it's
No, this has
great.
been great, brother.
Do you have a favorite food that you like?
Seafood. I
Random question.
seafood and I eat it.
Okay, seafood. Nice.
Philly cheesesteaks are like hit the spot. Like, you know, pizza's pizza, but like something about a Philly cheesesteak, especially a good one, is like really great. But my favorite food is Indian. So my
Okay.
I
Wow.
learned about EverQuest at Raj's house, right? He was actually a very close friend of mine. He passed away.
Oh
And
no.
when I used to come over and play EverQuest, his house would always smell like Indian food, and his mom would feed me, and it was spicy, and I loved it. I got used
Oh
to
man.
spicy food as a young kid. I got obsessed with Indian food, and then when I turned 15, from no 14, 15, 16, I worked at Moby Dick, which is a Persian restaurant. So I love kubide, I love chenje.
Wow.
It's all those are Farsi words for like beef and chicken. So yeah, I like the spicy green sauce that they have, and it's with the kubide, and it makes it's so good.
Oh
The
man, that's
saffron
awesome.
rice.
Wow.
That's actually my favorite. My favorite is kubide with rice. That's my favorite. So to all my Persian brothers out there, yeah.
Wow. That's
See,
awesome.
yeah. So sorry. It took a while to get. I'm thinking like Philly, and then I'm thinking this, and then nah. It's got to be the.
No,
It's
it's
got to be the
great.
kubide.
That's awesome. Shout out. Yeah, shout out to all
Shout out
the
to
Persian people out there that,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Hopefully you guys. Hopefully you guys take your country back.
yeah, and really sorry to hear about your friend too. That's very unfortunate.
No, it's all right, man. It's part of life, you know, and that's why, you know, you got to take care of each other. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's and by the way, this was like when he was very very young, and I think one of the great opportunities we have doing what you and I do is just being kind and positive to each other, just for the sake of being kind and positive. Like there's, you know, it feels good when I see people coming into the comments and be like, "Hey, man, I'm having so much fun just hanging out with you." Or I just, you know, no, it's a great feeling to know that there's somebody on the other side of the world you're hanging out with. And in that moment when you guys are just hanging out, they're not thinking about all the other stuff going on, you know, and you can just vibe out. So, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why I want to continue doing this, because I get to just chill with other people and we can just forget about all the nonsense for a minute.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
man, I appreciate you though. Thank you for the kind words.
and I feel the same way too. It's like life is busy, life is kind of difficult sometimes. We have to work, deal with stuff, whatever. So when you do kind of show up to these sort of online worlds, yeah, you just want to have some fun, And I'm the same
Heck
way.
yeah, man.
I don't want to ruin someone's day or whatever. I just want to relax and have fun.
Unless
So
you're training, a bunch of orcs to the camp, then
yeah,
it's okay. Uh,
yeah,
no, but yeah, that's one thing I like about you though, is I can tell you're just a genuinely kind person, kind-hearted person. Like you can just tell that with some people. So that's I appreciate you.
thanks, man.
So
I
you're
try.
great.
Wow, yeah, no, I sense that as well. Okay, and it just finally, just to kind of wrap up here, really appreciate you. We've gone on. It's like after midnight here. If you,
It's crazy. Yeah.
what's one thing that your community may or may not know about you? This is like purely optional. It could be outside of gaming. It could be, whatever, something fun.
I used to be a pretty hmm. Obviously I could say a bunch of cliche stuff, but I'll hint at this. I talked about music, I talked about hip hop. So, and you're picturing the 90s and 2000s. And if anyone knows about the type of hip hop that existed at that time, there was a lot of down south swinging and banging and, riding around with the 24-inch rims and yada, yada, yada. Let's just say I had a very colorful childhood with a lot of fun things I got to experience. And if like knowing me now, you could never imagine me just having fun. Let me put it to you this way. I'm a chameleon in the sense that I have literally hung out with every single class of peoples, the super rich, the super poor. I mean, my parents came here with a suitcase, right, as immigrants. Every race, every religion, I've been everywhere. And I've
Wow.
had so much fun because of this. So I could probably list a bunch of things that you'd be like, I wouldn't even imagine that. But because
Wow.
of that, I got to experience
That's
different
awesome.
cultures, different vibes, different music. And one of the ones that really stuck with me when I'm in my rebellious early adult teenage years, like 18 and up, is I I I I used to make a lot of hip hop music. I'll just put it that way.
Dude, that's
And I was
awesome.
pretty good at it. I was pretty good at it too.
Wow.
I
DJ
was like a
Class and Cool.
DJ. I was about to say DJ Khaled, DJ Class&Cool. Yeah, no, and it
Dude,
was
that's
great.
awesome.
I used to make beats. And my favorite art form was freestyling and lyricist type stuff. So when I did write, it was like kind of like manipulating word structure and stuff like that. And then when it was freestyles, it was just like like catching the rhythm and just like flowing and just making up. Oh, it was so much fun, dude.
Man,
It's
that's
really an art form.
amazing. Wow. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite like rap artist or anyone that kind of had a big influence on you? I'll tell you mine actually. I have.
I have too many to list, man. I mean, everything from geez, I mean, you can bring up the New York stuff from Nas, but then there's underground New York stuff like nonfiction. And then there's just so much. There's literally too many. I mean, think about Outkast, right? How unique and jivey their form of hip hop was. But then, like I said, there's the down south rap, which also you have like Lil Wayne, but then you have Trey the Truth, you have I mean the Slim Thug and that entire crew, and then you have 3 6 Mafia. So those are all groups. And then, like I said, you have the New York people, you have the California people, you have the Florida MIA people, like Georgia, Midwest, like Chicago type of stuff, like I forgot Eminem where he was. 8 Mile, I think, was from that general vicinity, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's just so many different styles. So it's not so much one particular thing, but it's about taking the art form as a whole and just meshing it together. That's what so I would take a little bit from everyone, um, and just make it my own.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome. That is mind blowing. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And you understand the artistic sense of it. You know, what's interesting. So I kind of had a brief stint in that as well. Obviously, I'm not as much of a scholar like you, but
No, I'm not a scholar,
I
dude.
got really into like Wu-Tang Clan when they first
Heck yeah.
came out. And the Jizzas, like when they all kind of split up and started doing their own like studio albums individually, the Jizzer, GZA, whatever. He had the Genius. The Liquid Swords. It was his first like studio album. I think it was like 1994, 1995. And dude, it's amazing. Like the vocabulary of Liquid Swords, it's incredible.
Yeah, dude.
So
It
I
really
really
is.
enjoy it. I still listen to it to this day occasionally.
Yeah.
So
But one of my favorite bands is like, for example, 311. So it takes like that alternative rock, mixes it with punk, a little bit of hip hop, excuse me.
Hmm.
So like it, that was kind of like my inspiration as a kid, to kind of like mix up different styles, and that's what got me into like making my own stuff. So it was really cool. It's really fun. I wish I was still doing it, but I'm I guess you can say I'm retired. But maybe one day. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I'll be honest, I'm an introvert, like in many ways, and um, you know, sometimes you got to do things in secret because at the second that there's people observing what you're doing or giving their own opinions, it kind of changes you, and that's why I like I said about Pantheon, like when you launch on Steam, now you have all these eyeballs, all these expectations, all this pressure,
Hmm.
and sometimes pressure is one of the biggest killers of creativity and artistic things. So you know how they say like hustle in silence or something like that. You know, don't
Yeah.
tell everyone what you're doing. So yeah, man. Um, if I do get back into it, you guys probably wouldn't know until I
Yeah.
like drop an LP. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to share with you guys.
No, that's
Maybe I'll
awesome.
make maybe I'll make a remix to like that one of the Kelethin or EverQuest songs. So
No, that's beautiful. I love it. Yeah, it's like
that actually would be pretty fun.
bad boys move in silence and violence. Biggie Smalls. That's
Ooh,
great.
there you go.
Even though that
That's
sounds extremely dorky coming from me, but yeah. So okay, dude. Thank you so much. I think we got it. Do you have any like final thoughts? Any sort of parting message for the old school MMO crowd as a whole, or
yeah.
any kind of anything to end on, anything you want to plug? I'm of course going to have all your stuff kind of in the description whenever this comes out, but
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is for, I think to the greater community, MMO, anyone watching this that's made it this far, thank you obviously for hanging out with us, but don't lose faith in your community. I mean, MMORPGs aren't going anywhere. I think we are in a great time. Um, and support your devs, support M&M, Pantheon, just give them the positivity they deserve. They're all putting in their blood, sweat, and tears into passion that they have, and just like you have a job and you have a family, you know, and you rely on support from other people. Sometimes I think we owe them that support and just understand they're real human beings, and I'm sure they would appreciate a little bit of, you know, pat on the back occasionally and not just constant criticism and correct this and fix that. Like, imagine if somebody did that to you every single day, right? So that would be about my message to the MMO community. But I think more importantly, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. I think what you're doing is incredible. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. I would have never thought of you reaching out to me, first of all. But second of all, I've watched a lot of these videos, and I encourage everyone to go back and rewatch your previous interviews because you are shedding light on the community and that this is a large community. We're very quiet, clearly, but with time, this community is just going to blow up because one of the things it's almost like untapped oil or gold. Once people experience something Eminem and like the masses do, kind of like EverQuest, if you could launch it with just one click instead of having to download the emulator and do all this stuff, like if people could experience it in a more convenient way, hence Monsters and Memories, I think they would fall in love with it. And I believe that time is coming. So when people like you are shedding light on the community, you're bridging the community, connecting everyone together. So what you're doing is amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for having me here. And like honestly, it's just very grateful. And you're so much fun to talk to. I think you do such a good job
oh
asking
man,
these
thank you.
questions, staying organized. I really, you're amazing. You know. So thank you
Thank you.
for this.
You're amazing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it. It's great.
Hopefully now, hopefully I put you to sleep now, and you'll be able to fall asleep. I accomplished my goal of keeping you up till 1 in the morning, and hopefully, it's gonna be hard editing this too because I might put you to sleep.
No, man, this is great. I think we
No,
got it, dude. Thank you so much. This
thank
is
you, brother.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we connect again soon, man. And I'll definitely see you in Monsters of Memories.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Like I said, I hope we end up on the same server, and yeah, I really appreciate it, dude. This was great.
Oh, I'm crying.